Live from Madison, Illinois, we welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we get set to go racing once again for race number 5. It's the second oval race of the season. This is the Pavement Recycling Systems 300 of the Classic Indycar Series. My name is Little Wemble alongside Austin Edstrom. We are bringing you all of racing action from start to finish on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Austin, no better day to go racing than here in Illinois. This track has long been known to be a true challenge in the stock car scene, but even more so in Indy cars.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably one of the toughest racetracks that, or at least on the oval side, that the Indy cars come to or have came to in the past. The differing sides of the racetrack, them being completely different. Turns 3 and 4 are wildly different than turns 1 and 2. I just feel like it tends itself to, or it lends itself to being a treacherous racetrack. I think you're going to see some incidents down in turn 1 and 2, and it's going to be a tough time for a lot of these guys all night.
Ethan Hagan maintains his points lead at the top of the points boards entering racing action this afternoon. He is clear by 25. Simon Hoffman has rounded himself up and into that second place position on what is going to be a huge drive for him, trying to get himself up and rolling this afternoon. Sorry, I believe that to be Jan Hoffman. That's supposed to be on the top of the board. Simon Hoffman supposed to be down in the 28th position. But the Vortex Sim Racing 05, the German Jan Hoffman sits on the second place in the points boards, just 25 points back. Cameron Dance sits in third with Andrew Wood in fourth. LaVille is back in that number 5 position. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be about a 4-horse race, I want to say, for the lead. Maybe a 3-horse race, but Ethan Hagan has definitely been the man to beat all season long.
Yeah, Hagan did a great job building that gap up at the road courses, and then we got to the Oval of Charlotte. He looked really quick, but he had a bit of a pit road issue and picked up some damage, and Hagan, I actually believe he might have gotten a speeding penalty and all that as well, and I'm kind of surprised that his points lead didn't dwindle any further. Still a 25-point gap, just kind of shows how good Ethan Hagan has been running all season long.
Of course, with Ethan Hagan being at the top and Jan Hoffman down in the number 2 spot, it's going to be a big question. The battle is still big for that second place position. Only 8 points separate Cameron Dance from Jan Hoffman. Cameron Dance is here this afternoon. One driver that is notably absent is the iconic motorsports driver and your Long Beach winner Willie Schwabauer. He and his team were busy taking the victory in the official iRacing Nürburgring 24 just yesterday. So they are going to be, he's going to be sitting this one out here this afternoon. But all of that with a lot of racing action still to come, with 236 laps and 300 miles around this mile in the quarter facility.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race to say the least. 1 and 2, like I said in the earlier in pre-race, it's just going to be so treacherous all night long. You've really got to keep yourself off of that very bottom groove. Very strange line that you have to take through that corner. Being able to keep your momentum up all the way through the center. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in these classic Indy cars, man. It's been a long time since I've seen an IndyCar race at Gateway, and well, to see these classic Indy cars out here getting ready to warm up, give us a little bit of a practice start before our warm-up's over. I can't wait to see the start of this race. That's all I can say.
There's a lot to talk about and how this track is going to drive this afternoon, and we'll get the chance to talk about all of that in just a moment. No better driver, though, than to figure it on now from a driver themselves. We'll take a look at your track guide, and then after that, Austin Edstrom will have caught up with Logan Simmons, your 4th place finisher in a dramatic finish from Charlotte 2 weeks ago.
Welcome to Worldwide Technology Raceway, better known as Gateway. This unique 1.25 mile 2 kilometer oval is located in Madison, Illinois. The X shape and low banking make this one a challenging track. Let's take a closer look while riding on board for a lap. Starting out of turn 4, you want to get as close as possible to the wall to keep the speed up and be easy on the tires. There are multiple lines you can take into turn 1. This time around we take the middle line, lifting just a bit going into the corner. Don't apex too early, otherwise you run out of room on exit. The back straight is a good place to get a run and set up the move for turn 3. The cars will reach a top speed of around 180 miles per hour. Entering turn 3 you can be a bit more aggressive thanks to the wider radius and drive deeper into the corner. My preferred line is to get as close to the inside curbs without touching them and let the car slowly move up the track and up to the wall. And that is 1 lap around Gateway.
Well, now we've got an interview with our 4th place finisher, Logan Simmons. Logan, I mean, that was pretty heartbreaking. That's about the only word that I can think of it. When did you kind of know that you were going to run out of gas or that you needed to save? And was there anything more that you could have done to actually get to the line?
When I came out of the pits, I was about 3 laps short, and luckily Willie came out right in front of me. And I ran about 40% throttle the whole stint hoping to get just that extra half lap of fuel to make it to the line. I knew probably with 5 laps to go it was not going to happen. And I just accepted the fate that I had then, because I was like, at least just keep riding it. When I run out, I can clutch and coast to the end.
So did you go off of the auto fuel by iRacing? Did you go off their calculations, or did you have your own that had you put in the certain amount of fuel that you did? Like, what were you going off of that caused you to underfuel it?
Well, this car doesn't have the auto fuel option for iRacing. So Willie, they were 2 laps behind me. They said they needed 12.3 gallons to finish, so they were fueling to 13. And I was thinking, I think it only uses about a half, maybe 0.4 gallons per lap. And I miscalculated and put 13 in as well. And that's just what cost me that. It just, was not good.
What were you thinking whenever your teammates had that incident on pit road? Did you think that you were going to be a sitting duck to the 2 guys behind you? I mean, in a different sense, right? It wouldn't have been you running out of gas, but did you think you were going to be a sitting duck after you lost your teammates? Or were you surprised that you were able to keep that big 1.5-second gap, even with saving fuel?
Necessarily surprised. So we started the race. We were completely trimmed. We realized after the first stint we needed to add something to fix some tire heating issues. So we added some wing. Was not good on the first stop. Took some front wing back out on the second stop. Helped out a little bit. That's whenever that happened, and I was like, okay, they'll probably catch me. Luckily, I had Caleb there. He drug me along for a little bit. And I knew with the last stint, it would only be about 35 laps. I figured, okay, I can run that trimmed out setting, run as fast as possible, and try to save fuel while doing it. I mean, we were running half throttle, running 24.3s. I figured, oh, I'm golden. I should be able to, if I run out of fuel, I should have enough to coast across the finish line and still probably end up on the podium. Which, looking at replay, unfortunately, iRacing scores a different way. So, but I wound up 4th.
Well, I mean, still a good day at the end of the day or a good race at the end of the day for you, finishing the 4th place spot in terms of points. Obviously, you wanted a little bit more on the evening, but nonetheless, still congratulations on the good finish. A little bit of heartbreak in there with it, but hopefully next week or in 2 weeks from the Worldwide Technology Raceway, you'll be able to have a little bit of redemption. Unfortunately,
that'll be a drop race. I'll be in Indianapolis that weekend.
Oh man, well that's probably more fun of a time. To be fair, that's going to be a good time up in Indy. I'm sure, being up there for the whole month of May, I imagine. So either way, congratulations on the good finish tonight. Sad to see it go the way that it did, but hopefully the next time that we see you out on the racetrack, it goes a little bit better.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it. That was Logan Simmons, our 4th place finisher from the race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago.
So with all that said and done, we'll roll back over here to Madison, Illinois. It was quite the wild race just a couple weeks ago down at Gateway, right, Austin? I mean, you had yourself quite a few drivers that had some problems with fuel in the later stages. Of course, Logan Simmons was among them, losing out in that photo finish. As it turns out, well, drivers eat transponders for breakfast, and it was scored by the helmets instead of the front nose like we thought it may have been. So, well, we both learned something new about how iRacing scores their drivers last week. That was so unbelievably unfortunate. And you want to know something crazy? It happened again in the last week, though not for a race win. It was, I think, for about a 3rd place finish. But again, it happened twice in less than a week for 2 different races, 2 different positions. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, Charlotte was pretty insane 2 weeks ago. That finish was heartbreaking for Simmons. And I'm not going to be able to trust iRacing timing and scoring anymore. Anytime I see a 0.000 gap, I'm gonna have to check it myself to actually see who should have won the race.
Right?
That kind of sucks. I mean, especially in these cars where you've got a front wing that stretches out, 2 yards in front of your head. I mean, it seems a little much.
Good luck on the dirt tracks where they don't even have a start-finish line painted on the racetrack. Then you really have to take iRacing's word for it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do at that point, right? I mean, you're kind of screwed. Well, even if there was, I mean, it's not like they could reverse the results. They always go off the helmet, apparently. So I don't know. I feel like that should be changed, man. It should be your front bumper.
Well, who knows? Maybe for the future. But for now, we got a race to call. Warm-up is going to finish on up, but we'll get set to see how everything's going to line on up for race 5 and the Paper Recycling Systems 300. Started on the pole, it is series founder Robert Groscher, alongside Ethan Hagen, the points leader out of Texas. Lucas Laville, the Frenchman, will start in the number 3 spot with Vortex Sim Racing's and last week's winner, Jan Hoffman, in 4th. Caleb Weekly, the hometown hero, down to the number 5 spot with VJO, the Finnish man, out of 6th place. It's Texas native Randy Schumacher down in 7th with Altena Autosports' Julian Altena, who just sniped away that 3rd position down in 8th. Rob Barnick out of California will be in 9th, with the Finnish driver Hans Pikkinen rounding out the top 10.
11th place will be Johnny Garrett with Jamie Wilson starting to his outside. 13th will be Cameron Dance with Andrew Aiken in the 14th place spot. Franz Josef Stum in 15th with Lewis Whittle to his outside in 16th. Mike Gerlecka will be starting in the 17th place spot with Albertus Surya to his outside, and Luis Zambelli will round out your 19-car field.
Field rolling out for their one and only pace lap before it gets set for green flag racing. We thought it'd be a bit of a caution-filled race 2 weeks ago in Concord, North Carolina, right, Austin, with the fact that it's a mile and a half, very high speed, but not a lot of race room. Only one early caution, though, and then it went green to the end. Do we reckon it'll be the same? It's a very different oval compared to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that really surprised me last week. I hate to have little faith because these guys obviously proved themselves last week. But man, Gateway's kind of a different beast. I feel like turns 1 and 2 are kind of chaos city, and 3 and 4 you're probably just building up some type of run to use coming down into turn 1. I feel like we're going to have some drivers come together through 1 and 2 tonight, but I think it's going to be a little bit tamer than I had originally expected. But we'll still see a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action, I think, especially through turns 1 and 2.
Turns 3 and 4, lesser bank, but a much wider radius could allow for some almighty runs down the front straightaway. Followed it up with a huge dive bomb down to turn 1. We'll see how this race, though, is going to pan out. As always, we're happy that you joined us here on a Sunday afternoon as the pace car ducks down and into pit road. Great flag drops. It's go, go, go from Illinois!
Those are a pretty good start. Top 4 all single file out. First side-by-side battle's actually going to be for the 6th place spot. I believe VJO cycled out behind this fight, actually. We've actually cycled single file all the way through the top 10. Everybody kind of minding their P's and Q's. Oh, 2nd place, way out of the groove. Ethan Hagen just about found the fence on lap number 1. That's a little bit too far outside, I believe, through that exit of turn 4.
Close shave there for Ethan Hagen as the iconic motorsports car almost gets up and into the outside wall, but for now, we are single file all the way throughout. Robert Groscher hangs on to the lead for now. A little further behind, you saw Cameron Dance tucking in line right behind. Jamie Wilson tried to make a look for position. He's already up 2 from where he started this afternoon. So far, the top 5 running where they started. Look at Dance trying to set up the run around the top shelf, and passes moving on further behind as Lewis Woodall on the move.
Just about 3 wide going down into turn number 1. They get it sorted out to just be a 2-wide fight. But man, I didn't think you could do that through 3 and 4, man. Cameron Dance all the way by the wall, all the way throughout the corner. These Indy cars can put on a heck of a show, and they just give these guys so many options through the corners that you wouldn't see in any other kind of vehicle that would come and run here. I mean, Dance is still ripping the fence.
Ethan Hagen trying to bomb it down the inside of Robert Groscher. Down in the wards, turn number 1. See if he can get that one going up and around as he is going to really make this thing work. Powers around the top shelf. And Groscher from the Vortex Sim Racing car is going to be down on the bottom. Ethan Hagen powering through, down to the low side, into turn number 3 and 4. Your points leader into the race lead.
Yeah, Ethan Hagen made it look relatively simple, but it doesn't look like Grosser's ready to go away just yet. Ends up filing in behind Hagen after kind of taking a little bit of a dive down to the inside. Oh, we got a spinner out of turn 4.
Right,
left rear.
Yeah, left rear demolished on Louis Zambelli's car as he's going to be forced down to the pit road. No caution, though. We keep on keeping on. Double file all throughout this field. We'll wait until this cycles out a little bit more calm before we take a look at the replay, because it is tight and looking for 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Yeah, these guys, they know it's a 236-lap race, right? I mean, they're racing hard at the beginning of this thing. Zambelli just caught the curb and ripped himself around in 3 and 4, so something else you got to watch out for tonight. You don't want to get those left side tires down on the rumble strips on the inside, especially 3 and 4. I mean, it just ripped him around. He had no chance.
Oh. hard hit for Zambelli into the wall. Got down to the curb and just lost that back end and backed that thing hard into the fence and destroyed the left rear immediately on board. You got to watch that curb, right? I mean, it took off the second it got unsettled. That's going to be a huge talking point of the Indy 500 at the end of the year.
We've got a huge accident out of turn 4 that has brought out this yellow. Rob Barnical just got sideways out of turn number 4, got clipped by another driver right behind him. I believe it was Franz Josef Stum, and then Mike Garlicka also got caught up.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Huge hit up into the air. And I think that was Stum that got kicked up and over in the Aero X machine on a violent crash coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4.
Yeah, that was huge. Huge early crash to take out three competitors here. Man, I can't believe that impact for Stum coming around turn 4. Just Barnical just getting sideways up on the outside of the racetrack. Oh my word, that bounce.
That was absolutely monstrous. That's right on board with Stum. And, well, that's already in progress. We'll get another look, but hang on to your helmets here because this is going to get a little bit wild. I mean, just nothing you can do. The second that front end leaves the ground, you're a passenger.
Man, I really hope that he's not in VR because that would have been a little disorienting. I'm still frustrated, obviously, if I'm Stum. I mean, that's heartbreak. Just riding around at the back of the pack, not really pushing yourself, and
oh boy,
just caught up in somebody else's incident that you just could not go anywhere. It's how fast you run up on guys on these or in these Indy cars at ovals. I mean, you just have no time to react. Sucked up right behind him.
Look at
Nothing
the
you can do.
error here that he gets. I mean, that car.
Oh my.
He's lucky that didn't go nose first into the catch fence itself. Talk about a hard lick as well for the 31. Mike Garlicka left with nowhere to go, down to the inside as well. God almighty.
It's going to take 3 of them out of the race early. And
Barnical. Man.
Zambelli from the wrecked the lap before also out of the race. So that's going to be 4 contenders down and out before we've even hit lap number 10.
We're down to 14. Caution flag number 1 is out on the speedway. We'll be back in a moment on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Coming back to green flag racing. 11 laps deep. The green flag is back in the air. Ethan Hagen with an early launch. We got 15 left on the racetrack after an early caution takes out a good chunk of the field at the back. Green flag is back in the air. Lucas LaVille takes away second. Robert Grosser into third. They're battling it out. 3 wide behind on the back.
Yeah, Robert Grosser got caught sleeping on that restart, lost a position to LaVille, and they're battling out 2 wide, coming down into 3 and 4. Wilson on the inside, trying to pick up a spot. Cameron Dance has checked out from these guys. Passed one of them on the restart. He's been insane at running that outside group, but they're still battling back. Randy Shoemake, Jamie Wilson.
Looking for the outside is going to be Jamie Wilson trying to secure the spot against Andrew Aitken, but Aitken still battling this one out down low. The Team Chimera driver is gunning for it. Meanwhile, up the road, Randy Shoemake under fire as the Finnish driver of Pitkin trying to go the long way around 3 and 4. It's not going to happen. Jamie Wilson attacks down the inside to take the spot away. They are packed up down deeper in the field.
Yeah, Pitkin just kind of missed 3 and 4 that last time by a little bit too high. Weird angle getting down into the corner. Ended up costing himself trying to get around Randy Shoemake. Jamie Wilson was able to pick that spot back up after he had just lost it a half a lap before. I mean, they are trading places like crazy back further in the back. And we're not even, I mean, we're still only on lap number 14 and these guys are racing like we got 15 laps left.
15 laps to go as we continue to duke it out. This race is looking to be intense right now. Hans picking in Andrew Aitken, trying to absolutely gun for it down the back straightaway and in towards turn 3.
Oh, man. There's not, it just seems like it's a little much, right? Julian Altena giving up a spot to Randy Shoemake. I mean, everybody's just willing to make some crazy moves already. Further back in the pack, not a lot of working together right now.
No, not at all. There's a lot of take and not a lot of give, but keeping it relatively clean so far. A few sketchy moves. Whoa, boy! VJL blocking Hoffman all the way down to the grass on the back straightaway. And the 05 gets shut out as VJL hangs on to what is going to be 11th place, trying to fight for 10th.
I believe Jan Hoffman came down under that pit stop, or under that caution, and took a pit stop. Kind of weird, he was running up towards the front. Oh, just about getting caught up by that VJO there. Through 1 and 2. Kind of surprised to see him put himself back this far already, but, you know, perhaps just a little bit different fuel strategy, getting some more gas in the tank, perhaps stretching this first stint out a little ways.
Jamie Wilson looks like he has suffered the ever-powerful connection failures. He has dropped down over 2 laps and is still technically in this race, although has not been able to really get back in the session, so expect for that to turn to an out before too long. But right now, Jamie Wilson running down to that 15th place position. He was battling for spots within the top 10.
Oh, Jan Hoffman got this position off of the 27 of Andrew
Aitken.
Hard to the just wall. Got a little twitchy. Oh, no.
Big crash for Alberto Surya, slams the inside concrete and is now stopped middle of the racetrack on the back straightaway. Looking like he's going to force the yellow here. Still stopped. Field coming around 1. There's the yellow.
He was already 2 laps down before that. I probably would have just taken the tow, but hey, I mean, still stuck in the middle of the racetrack. Well,
what if he's trying to get that car refired, seeing if he can make it back to pit road? He's not going to get it though. He'll have to tow.
Yeah, well, that's going to cut us down to 13 drivers on the lead lap, I believe, due to the connection issue
13
of Jamie Wilson. I think Surya will be able to get his damage fixed and come back out if he chooses to.
I don't know. That was a hard lick into the wall. I mean, look at this here. That broke the right rear. I don't know if he's going to get that fixed.
I think he's going to be done.
Yeah, that's terminal if you ask me.
Oh, it just gets a little bit too far out of the groove coming out of turn number 2. A little bit too much wheel put into it. The car becomes light. And I don't know, just a combination of errors there coming out of 2. Going to loop you around, and it feels like nothing. And then all of a sudden you're just gone.
It's an easy mistake to make too. Surya was already running deep in the field. This is on board with the number 14 Dallara IR05 as he makes his way around turn 3 and 4 back to 1 and 2. See him picking off the limiter there on the front stretch as they work down to 1 and 2, and just gets a bit too high up. And it's that transition, right? When he came off on the flag, the car got light, and I mean, he hit the wall right where it starts to come out to allow for that access road right there. So that's an even worse impact to hit at.
This race is kind of trending to end up being a long green flag race, though, because of these incidents. They're kind of taking out a good bit of the competition here early on. I think we're going to end up getting down to, 10 or so cars, and then this thing is just going to go green. And we're going to get some good strategy off of that, I believe. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining race just to see, because we've already seen Jan Hoffman go off strategy of all these guys in front of him, wanting a little bit more fuel in the tank, able to push his strategy a little bit further. You never know whenever those 7, 8, 9 laps that he saved because he came down pit road are going to come in handy, especially in a 236 lap race. We got a lot of pit stops in this thing. He could save fuel in a different way that's just not possible for other guys. So I'd be interested to see what some of these guys that have been coming down pit road are going to do later on.
Working lap 22 of 236 under this yellow flag, and only 2 cautions this early on. It has knocked out a good chunk of the field in the early game, though. 13 cars remain on the racetrack and on the lead lap. Julian Altena and VJO both coming down into pit road under this latest yellow flag. So a curious position to see the 11 and the 96 coming down this early on. Now, these drivers were given an extra tire set to work with this afternoon, and you have to wonder if maybe they're taking advantage of that set early on, or if it might have just been a fuel strategy.
I feel like it's just fuel strategy. They haven't used too much of their tires so far in the early going, and well, there's only 13 cars left on the lead lap, left on the racetrack here. So I just feel like topping off on gas in a race like this, especially because they were already running towards the back, right? They were running in about that 10th to 13th place range. So you're not really losing much, and you're putting 20 laps of gas in the fuel that nobody else has. So I feel like it's a great idea. It's just that they need the race to go green at some point to see how the strategy falls.
Coming around to the front straightaway, the question is, will it be 2 to green or 1 to green? It was a bit of a long caution last time by, and it will be a 1 this time by. So Ethan Hagen will be picking up the race lead. We'll get set to go back to it. Lucas LaVille going to see if he can do what Groscher couldn't and take that lead away from Hagen, but he's got to get the jump on the restart first. And when you have single file restarts along the top side of an oval like this, the advantage always goes to the outside, because remember, Hagen can just mash the foot to the floor when he's on the flat side of the racetrack. For the guys that are still on the banking, they got to feather their foot into it, or they're just going to spin it out on the banking.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's kind of what we saw, right? We saw the change of banking hurt earlier on the or to cause this caution. I believe the 14 just kind of got a little bit too low through 1 and 2, got onto the bottom side of the banking, came up across the transition into the second groove, and so just and spun it out. So I feel like on the restart, you just got to watch for similar things. No matter what line somebody's running, they could be running just something a little bit different, because they could be side by side going into that corner. Somebody could be all the way down on the no bank, and somebody could be all the way outside the racetrack. So you got to be careful. But the green flag is back out. Nathan Hagen got us back under green.
Struggling to keep within the mortal plane, but he is off and away. Lucas LaVille, though, on a pretty big launch, and all things considered, that's about as good of a jump as you're going to be able to get on a restart here. While Robert Groscher now having to play rear gunner support, they're stacked up for third on down.
Yeah, these restarts have been strange. Robert Groscher just has not been able to get going whatsoever. Both of the last 2 restarts, he has kind of dropped anchor and allowed everybody else to catch up. Cameron Dance, though, has had a phenomenal start to this race. Started back in 13th. He's running up in 4th, and he is challenging Grosser right now for that 3rd place spot.
Cameron Dance, one of the main front runners at Circuit of the Americas in the season opener. See what he can do to try to get up to that number 9. Just hanging on to the gearbox of Robert Groscher, riding on board, as looking for the inside line, and takes that one down low, and he is through into the 3rd position. So put Cameron Dance up to the final step of the podium.
And what was great for Nance is he got a good run out of the corner, too. He didn't have any type of twitching movement, nothing to report out of errors out of Cameron Nance. I mean, just perfect corner, able to get a little bit of a gap. And now, because he didn't make a mistake, they're side by side in his mirror. Grosser is now in a fight once again with, I believe, Caleb Weekly, who's gotten to his inside coming down to turn 1.
Trying to look for the inside line, down to 1, not able to get there. And that's going to open up the door for Shoemake.
Oh,
Shoemake going for it.
Someone has gone, Jan Hoffman. Jan Hoffman is out, man.
Put another driver down and out. This time, no caution. Hoffman will not get lucky. We continue to whittle him down. Turn 2, looking to be Calamity Corner. That's
our Charlotte race winner that has just gone spinning into the inside fence. I mean, huge impact. He has to take the toe, and I think that's going to be it for Jan Hoffman. That's just heartbreaking off of the success out of the last race. To come back to Gateway, expect yourself to have an opportunity. He had a weird strategy coming down pit road, taking some gas even though he was run up at the front. Did he put himself in harm's way by putting himself back in the weeds at the back by coming down pit road, or was this just a simple driver's mistake out of Jan?
Sure was. Same. That is identical to Surya, and in fact hit him pretty much the same place as well.
Doesn't even look like he's doing anything. Nothing is happening that's like egregious behind the wheel. They're just getting a little bit too far outside of the groove on exit, and I feel like they're just having to keep a little bit more wheel into it coming over that hump, and I just feel like that's the difference coming out of turn number 2 for a couple of these guys. Contact coming down to turn number 1. That doesn't help.
Out wide will go Andrew Aitken, Julian Altena, Johnny Guerra both fight their way through. Guerra trying to break the toe from Aitken behind to pull away. Further up the road, battles on for third, battles also on for first. Lucas LaVille has caught Egan, and he is not letting him go.
Yeah, LaVille is all over the gearbox here. Ethan Egan coming out of turn number 2. Egan able to stretch it out just a little bit down the back straightaway. But I feel like, we saw this at Charlotte. It came down to fuel. So is it beneficial to just sit in somebody's tire tracks and ride for a long green flag run? I mean, we've only got 12 drivers left on the racetrack. Do you think there's going to be too many more cautions?
I think we might get 1 or 2 more. I don't think we're done with the yellow flag yet. I mean, this track has proven to be a huge challenge for these drivers, and I don't think we're going to be done with the yellow flags just yet, especially with the battle for the lead as tight as this one here between LaVille and Egan. As LaVille going to look to the inside and send her down to the 3.
I really thought he'd just sit back there and save gas, but I guess I was wrong. LaVille immediately up to the race lead coming out of turn number 4. Good movement a little bit further back. Randy Shoemake is under fire from Robert Grosser.
Well, it's hard to say fuel at this track, remember, because you're using the brakes so much. And in fact, in 3 and 4, they're downshifted as well into that 5th gear before bombing it back up to 6th down the front straightaway. You got to keep that in mind as well. It's a much more difficult track to save fuel on. Sure, you can save a little bit, but it's not going to be too much. As Grosser losing out 1 spot there to Caleb Weekly. Grosser looking to be on the backslide.
Yeah, it just seems like whenever you're in a little battle pack like this, you make a move to the inside, it doesn't come off, and you lose a position or 2. So it's just kind of, it's been a little tough for some of these guys trying to make moves, because Grosser was trying to make up a position, but he just got pinched off coming off the corner and ended up losing a spot instead to Caleb Weekly. So it's kind of frustrating whenever you're in a race like that, where every time you seem to be able to make a move, put yourself in a position to gain a position, you just end up costing yourself. And I feel like we've seen that time and time again already so far through the first 35 laps.
Caleb Weekly may be a bit nervous there. He was drifted up into the same line that we saw both Hoffman and Surya take to. So I thought for a moment we were about to see a third car spin off the high side banking of turn 2. But for now, Caleb Weekly, the iconic Motorsports number 10, keeping that car firmly pinned to the bottom, running down the front straightaway in that big battle. Lucas LaVille has not been able to break away from Ethan Egan either, but look at who's closing in behind. Cameron Dance on the move.
Yeah, this doesn't really surprise me. I mean, I didn't think he'd get up here this fast, but, the cautions have helped him out a little bit. He's gained a couple spots, got a yellow, been able to get a couple more spots, get another yellow. And now he's found himself in that 3rd place spot. He was a little over a second behind the race leaders, and he's just been able to run them down. I mean, ever so slightly, lap after lap, just super smooth on the wheel from Cameron Dance.
And just in front of him up the road, Ethan Hagen doing a phenomenal job on keeping tucked up there with Lucas LaVille. And this is what it looks like with the helmet camera, and you can really see just how quick that these guys are ripping around this place. The TV cameras really never do it justice about the sheer amount of speed that an Indycar can carry.
Yeah, the sense of speed around this place whenever you're, I mean, no telling how many G's they would be pulling in real life around turns 1 and 2. So just seeing it from the helmet cam puts it in a little bit of a different perspective. I mean, you can just tell how fast they're going down the straightaway, but I mean, getting that helmet shake in there, it adds to it a good bit.
So a three-way battle now for the lead as we work it down to turn number 1. Your points leader trying to see if you can get after Lucas LaVille. Of course, LaVille, a multi-time winner over here in the Classic IndyCar Series. He won both of the preseason races at Sebring and Homestead Miami Speedway. But so far for points races, LaVille has gone winless, and he's looking to change that. He was runner-up 2 weeks ago at Charlotte, pushing Ian Hoffman to the win.
Yeah, and he's starting to stretch that gap out over Hagen a little bit. I think Ethan Hagen's having to go a little defensive over Cameron Dance, and it's compromising his line, kind of causing him to lose a little bit of time to Lucas LaVille the last couple times. But out of 2, a little bit better exit there out of Ethan. Cameron Dance not looking to settle for that 3rd place spot, but we have is this an incident further back?
2 passes. Johnny Garrett losing out 2. First Andrew Aiken, and then VJO sniped him as well, and that will bump that'll bump Johnny Garrett down and outside of the top 10 as the battle for the lead continues.
Yeah, and these 3 have kind of yarded the field. 3.8 seconds back to Randy Shoemake, Caleb Weekly, Lewis Woodle. Both of those guys have kind of been battling amongst themselves, and have probably cost themselves a little bit of time too, but nonetheless, the top 3. Cameron Dance, who was just stuck in the middle of the 2 groups, just pulled up to the front group and latched onto the back of it, and even so, Ethan Hagen and Lucas LaVille have been rapid up at the front so far, and I feel like with them being so close that they should be battling, so I really feel like there's still some fuel-saving games being played up front. Hagen not really willing to make a move on LaVille, and I don't think Dance is looking like he's trying to make any aggressive moves either.
2 drivers that are making moves, though, VJO and Andrew Aiken battling side by side through turns 3 and 4. VJO takes the spot away. They have both been steadily running down Julian Altena, your 3rd place finisher from the last race, just a little ways up the road. And see what he can make of that Velocity Online Racing number 11. Whoa, and almost got into the fence there coming off of 2.
That's the first time I was worried about somebody actually hitting the fence, right? We saw the guys spinning out, coming close to it. You just feel like you were going to get loose coming over the hill there. But that was the first time we've seen somebody just about pound the fence down. Julian Altena lucky to get away with one there.
So 3 distinct battle packs right now on the racetrack. You're looking at the 3rd of the bunch right now, and this is the 3rd and final battle pack that's on the racetrack as VJO screams to the inside, trying to pick off Altena, but can't make it down the front straightaway. The 2nd battle pack is the top 3 running for the lead, and then the 2nd battle pack is a little ways behind. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, all running line astern with the likes of Cameron Dance, obviously 4.3 seconds up the road in that battle pack as well. And Caleb Weekly is in here, Lewis Woodall is in here. Currently, right now, Cameron Dance with the most spots gained of the afternoon. He is plus 15 on the day.
Yeah, Dance has just been stupid quick. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He has been unbelievably impressive from the drop of the green flag. We saw him going all the way out to the fence in turns 3 and 4, a line that I did not even think was possible, and making up positions. So not really too surprised to see him move himself up to the 3rd place spot. More surprised to see him qualify so far back.
It always makes you wonder, right, what happened in qualifying to put you so far down on the racetrack? And I'm willing to bet probably a pair of invalidated laps, or maybe a scrape of the outside wall damaged his car for the 2nd.
It definitely could have been. I mean, qualifying was just unbelievably tight. I mean, everybody from 5th to 17th, I believe, looks like they're within 0.2 of a second. 1/10 of a second. I mean, it's just super close between a lot of these guys in qualifying. So one little mistake can cost you, I suppose. But Dance at least has mitigated that mistake by getting up to the back of the 2 race leaders just a handful of laps in, man. I mean, we're not even lap 50. We got 236 on auto for you. So Dance kind of showing some muscle early.
Oh, Ethan Hagen making a peek that time, reminding LaVille that he is still there and ready to pounce. You wonder if maybe he was considering a look down the inside of 3, or was that potentially to maybe cool the car? Or is that an intimidation tactic to try to see if he can scare LaVille wide into turn 3?
I don't know if he's necessarily trying to intimidate him. I think that he's definitely thinking, okay, I might show my nose, and if he makes a mistake, then I'll go into it. But I feel like that was probably more just a little bit of lifting at the end of the straightaway, because I think they're working together mostly. Because he would have done it, right? He would have pushed down to the inside, kept that run. I think he's just kind of letting off the gas and letting the car coast down to the corner. I really think these front 3 are working with each other at this point to just kind of save some fuel and pull out a gap.
I mean, you say that, but it is still very, very early in this race, though, right? I mean, we're talking still with over 180 laps to go. It is a hugely long race tonight. I think the longest race, actually, so far, that we're going to be seeing on the season.
I feel like that's just even more of a reason to actually save some fuel. If you can do this and cut out a pit stop, I mean, that could be absolutely massive, and it could be the difference in you winning and losing the race. So you never know. Maybe one of these 3, maybe Cameron Dance isn't willing to push Ethan Hagen too much because he's figured out that they can cut out a pit stop, and so he's just going to sit in 3rd and ride, right? You never know what kind of strategies are going through these guys' minds. I mean, I feel like if it wasn't something strategy based, we'd be seeing them passing each other or trying to, but I feel like they're rather content with riding in a line right here for the top 3 spots and just laying down some good lap times.
Well, one thing that is for certain is the fact that Shoemake, Wigley, and Woodall are all running line of stern with one another. We do have a car in a pit road. Andrew Aitken making a pit stop here this time by. John DeGarrett got around to him as Aitken will be the first car into the lane. Yep, watch for the stairs.
I think they should remove the stairs.
You'd think it does look like a bit of an oversight on the track's part, doesn't it?
Why in the world are there stairs there? I don't get it.
Pit officials to get over the wall easier.
Not worth it.
That's all I got for you.
Well, terrible reasoning.
So Aiken, 9.1 seconds in the box, and he is back out onto the racetrack. All by himself, though. No drafting help around the racetrack. Side by side behind, Caleb Winkley trying to fend off Lewis Woodall. But Randy Shoemake making it a bit easy for Caleb to mount the defense, and he's going to be forced to give it up to Woodall.
Yeah, Woodall moving himself into the top 5, but it might still be side by side coming down the back straightaway. Caleb Winkley back to the inside, trying to pick the spot back up, as Woodall didn't have the best exit out of turn 2, way wide through 3 and 4, trying to use the momentum coming down the front straightaway. Man, he got close to the fence there. Going to keep that as a side-by-side battle coming down to the turn number 1. Caleb Winkley not willing to give it up, but he's going to have to coming out of 2.
You saw there as well, Randy Shoemake actually went to the inside to give Caleb Winkley some drafting help. That was a very strategic move on Shoemake's part, because he knew that Woodall was going to have a huge run around the top side of the racetrack. So he wanted to give that draft back to Winkley to ensure they'd be side by side down to turn 1, which should have given him a chance to break away. But Woodall got around that move, and now he was looking to go on the offensive once again. This is for 4th.
Yeah, he got a huge run off of turn 2, being forced to the outside like that, and he has kept the momentum up, kept the pressure up on Randy Shoemake here for 4th place. Woodall is flowing through the field too, I believe. I mean, he started back in the 16th place spot. He's challenging for 4th place coming out of turn 4 right now. This time by, can he take it? Away from Randy Shoemake. Shoemake with a good run coming out of turn number 4. And he's got that preferred outside groove for turns 1 and 2. It's going to be a tough pass for the 13.
Oh, contact, look out! Around goes Shoemake, and the caution is out. Big hit up in turn 2 to the outside wall.
Is he going to be able to continue? I felt like that was going to destroy him.
He may have lucked out. He's going to be damaged, but he should be able to get away with that. But, oh boy, that's drama for the 4th place spot as Lewis Woodall gets in to one of the Aero X drivers.
Yeah, I feel like Woodall just drifted a little bit too much through the middle of the corner, and on exit just ended up clipping the left rear. I feel like he pushed out of the groove, tried to keep his foot in it a little bit too long, and unfortunately sent Shoemake around and into the outside wall. We're going to see it coming through turns 1 and 2 this time. I feel like Shoemake gave him plenty of room.
There's room down there for Woodall. That much is for sure. And yeah, Woodall just got tight, pushed up, got into the 3, and it's not a huge hit. I think he.
And it was flush.
Yeah, I think he may have just gotten away with that, you know.
It's gonna be some damage to the rear wing, and I feel like he'll be okay. He got.
That's
so
not
much.
that bad. As far as Indycar wrecks go, at least.
Yeah, that could have been way worse. I think Shoemate got away with one there.
Whole field coming down to pit road. This is going to stack everyone up. Expected for full tires and field from the group. Lucas LaVille, first in. And first out. Or is he? Here comes Woodall trying to gun it for second. And Lewis Woodall on a 2.5 smaller pit stop is up to the number 2 spot.
Well, I guess you can bring out the caution and it benefit you. I mean, kind of if you're Randy Shoemaker, you're shaking your head, you're a little frustrated. But well, Woodall becomes the big beneficiary out of what I would say was his mistake. So, hey, that's racing.
On board with Lewis Woodall here, and oh, I mean, you could see how tight he got it. I mean, no intent there at all. I mean, he was cranking the hard left, and even before they hit, you could hear him lifting out of the throttle, trying to keep it out of him. There was just nothing he could do in that situation.
Yeah, it's just hard racing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
he didn't mean to. There was obviously no intent in that. I don't mean to put that out there, but yeah, it was just a little hard racing between those guys, and unfortunately, Woodall just pushed up a little bit too much on exit. And in these Indy cars, right? If this was a NASCAR vehicle going around here, they could have taken a little bit of contact, probably been all right. But man, in the Indy car, you gotta take care of everybody. One little bit of contact is gonna send somebody around, especially on the exit of a corner. That time, luckily, I believe he's gonna end up being all right. I don't think Randy Shoemaker is gonna have too much damage off of that.
Caution number 3 on the speedway. We'll be back in a moment on Green Flag TV. One lap to green. It'll be a restart for lap number 62 as racing action will look set to continue. From the Worldwide Technology Raceway, if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Austin Edstrom, and we are bringing you all the action from round 5 of the Classic IndyCar Series. Still with well over 160 laps to go. And set to come to the green. Lewis Woodall right now, one of the drivers. That's a bit of a mystery factor. I believe he did not take tires as he sits in second with Altena down in 6th in the same boat.
Oh.
That's
Well,
the only explanation I can think for why he'd be able to get out there so quick.
I mean, I guess. I don't feel like that would be the right call. I mean, I don't know. I know it's early in the race, so you can try it out, but being on older tires, that doesn't sound too good. We got the restart underway. Lucas LaVille out to a huge jump on the restart. Woodall not able to even keep it close down the straight.
Ethan Hagan going to try to apply to the pressure. I guess we'll find out in a moment as Woodall way up to the outside wall. Hagan trying to chase after him. Meanwhile, further back behind, Julian Altena going to get around Caleb Wiggly. Shot from the inside, coming down to turn number 2. Takes the spot away, puts Altena back into the top 5 and 3.
Yeah, Altena with a good move, being able to get that spot away from Weekly. Coming down to the turn number 1, though, having to go a little defensive, prevent anything from going on. But further up, Woodle hanging on to that second place spot. Ethan Hagen and Cameron Dance, though, they're losing ground on their race rival, I would say. I don't know if Woodle actually didn't take tires, but if that's the case, they're going to have to get by him as soon as possible, or else that number 2 is just going to keep pulling away.
LaVille already has built up almost a second gap over Lewis Woodle on back, and Hagen now runs in that third position. Oh, close to the gearbox there. Gotta be careful when you're powering that close up. And oh boy, Woodle with a tank slapper coming off the corner. That's gonna open up the door. Ethan Hagen looking for the inside, sends it down the inside, and put the number 20 machine up to the number 2 spot.
Well, he's trying to, but Woodle fighting back on the outside. That is a good run coming down the front straightaway, and he's got the preferred groove coming through 1 and 2. We've seen time and time again. The car on the inside has a tough time getting out of the corner. Can Woodle do it this time on the outside? Big run down the back straightaway. Cameron Dance to the bottom. Actually trying to help Ethan Hagen out here a little bit, keep him in the fight.
Oh, Woodle trying to shut the door. No room, though. Hagen takes it low, and that's going to force Woodle up and wide. Finally, Hagen secures that spot. Now immediately looks to cover off Cameron Dance on the inside.
Ethan Hagen already through. Dance takes as much racetrack as he can. Woodle has to abort mid-corner. Move him up to second and third. Good fight for Woodle, though. I mean, that was as clean of defense as you can get, but man, he made it tough for him.
Meanwhile, Caleb Weekly trying to take that spot back away from Julian Altena, and he'll get there for the inside. Caleb Weekly is back up and into the number 5 spot. So Weekly gets up to the 5th place, and even further behind, VJO trying to make a run down the inside of Hans Pinkkinen. This is for 8th.
Oh, VJO got tight on the exit of the corner. That allows Johnny Garrett to get to his inside coming out of 2. Garrett had to check up pretty heavy for VJO, but he's still able to carry that run. Both of them losing time to the cars in front. VJO way up the racetrack, and Johnny Garrett's going to take that spot, move himself up to 9th.
So he'll move himself up to that number 9 position, and right now one of the closest battles is up the road for that second position. 0.2 of a second separate Cameron Dance from Ethan Hagen. Both drivers have won races in the 2024 campaign. For now, though, it's Hagen up on top, while LaVille still trying to open up that gap.
Yeah, but LaVille is starting to lose that gap a little bit. He's actually, what, a 1/10 and a half? Yeah, he was 0.2 just about slower than our second place driver. And I think Ethan Hagen and Cameron Dance, I think they're working together again. I think that they're pushing each other up there. Cameron Dance has gotten up to the back bumper of Ethan Hagen a couple times, whether it was through that battle with Woodle just a couple laps ago or even after that. He's gotten up to the back, the gearbox there of Ethan Hagen, and hasn't made a move. So I think that he's going to push him up to the race lead, and we're going to have another 3-car battle for the lead again.
And we're going to have VJO trying to go down the inside of Johnny Garrett. And this again, that battle of the 9th position. That is tight and nearly a carbon copy of what brought out caution number 3 as Garrett almost got up into the outside wall. VJO did a good job to back out of that one. That could have been a disaster.
Yeah, that was a little tight there from Johnny Garrett, pinching him way down to the bottom side of the racetrack. I'd be careful with that. Netcode can be a little bit of a struggle, and that was asking for it there.
I know what you wanted to say.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a struggle, and you got to be a little bit more careful with it. That's just a little too close for comfort, for sure.
And Johnny Garrett trying to hunt down the fitness driver of Hans Pinkkinen just up the road. Pinkkinen going to go wide in turn 4, and that will give the momentum back to the outside. And how about VJO? He's going to pull his fellow countrymen with him as they work down to turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, VJO back to the outside, and he'll take that spot pretty easy over Johnny Garrett.
God, this battle for about 6th on back is absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't know if the front runners have not had too much fireworks going on, but all the action has been for like the top 5 and down.
And it's been great, and I think it's going to be good between the front runners whenever it gets down to it too, right? It's going to look a lot like this. Just I feel like they're running a little bit of a smarter race. You know, I feel like they're actually running as if we need to hold on to our track position. You know, we're in the top 3. Let's continue that. That's great. While everybody else is kind of fighting to get up to that point and just hasn't been able to latch onto the gearbox of the top 3 and use their draft like they've been able to so far.
VJO hunting down the inside. Hans Pitkanen trying to see if he can get a run going from the outside line. Not able to get there, and VJO now under fire. Johnny Garrett looking for the bottom side of the American. Will shoot to the bottom side. The Aero X driver is through to ninth.
Yeah, they just keep swapping this position back and forth, don't they? They can't seem to really get away from each other. One of them mounts a challenge on Hans Pitkanen in front of him and loses a bit of time, and then the next one goes for it. And we're just got to swap in that ninth place spot back and forth. This time, though, Garrett, a little bit better run to the inside coming out of turn 2. Perhaps this is the move. He's finally side by side, fully alongside Hans Pitkanen. Oh, man, they both drive it in deep into turn 3. VJO able to get to the inside of Hans now for the 9th place spot. Johnny Garrett up to 8th.
That was an absolutely great move there that Johnny Garrett took. He saw that Hans Pitkanen really botched turn 2, just like he did there, and nearly found the wall, and that scared VJO into backing out because he thought he was about to be spun across his nose.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be our 4th caution of the night for sure. I mean, that looked like that was going to be it. Hans way out of the groove coming out of turn 2. I can't believe he kept it out of the fence. I mean, I don't know if you could have slipped a piece of paper between his wheel and the wall.
Unbelievably tight, and we also got a battle for the lead. Ethan Egan's caught Lucas LaVille hunting for the inside, and the iconic motorsports driver trying to go to the point. LaVille trying to see if he can pinch him in off of turn 4. Not going to get it done. Egan back to the race lead. Cameron Dance just a quarter of a second back in 3rd.
Yeah, they ran him down from a second back. Ethan Egan, as soon as he got there, not willing to ride in the tire tracks, continued the momentum that he got from the huge draft that he had been taking from Lucas LaVille for the last couple laps, getting up to his gearbox and easily taking that run down to the inside of turns 3 and 4 last time by, taking the position. And LaVille now just having to settle for second after getting ran down.
You also got Lewis Woodall, who, as a courtesy of that battle, did reel in back to about 1 second of the leader. He's dropped back to 2.2 seconds now. But Lewis Woodall showing that if they really start to battle it out for multiple laps in a row, it could very easily become a 4-way brawl for the race lead.
Definitely could, and that's why I feel like the top 3 are going to take care of each other. I know that they're going to swap the position every now and again, but I don't really think we're going to see Cameron Dance make a big move unless LaVille is really, really holding him up, and I feel like we're going to see the same for LaVille on Egan going forward.
Further to the back, holy cow, 3 wide, Hans Pitkanen way down low, and gives up spots to both Andrew Aitken and I think that to be Jan Hoffman, one of the lap cars, and in fact it is. And as we're saying that, they'll tend to be inside a weekly.
He's 5 laps down, but he's looking pretty feisty, trying to get up here, but I don't think that that car's probably not handling very good. He destroyed that thing, even if he got it fixed as much as he could. I don't think that thing's going to be at any turn or any kind of decent race speed.
What was that for picking him? He really did just crank that car down low off of turn number 4. What did he got to lose? Oh, yes, he did. Look at the snap of that wheel. Just barely gathered that up underneath him.
That's a tough save. I mean, hitting the curbing on the inside here is going to unsettle the Indycar every single time. Honestly, very surprised that he rode out of it. I figured that was a death sentence hitting that thing, but he's able to keep a hold of it, but it's going to take a couple laps to kind of get back up to pace and, kind of get back in your rhythm.
First, second, and third still all packed up line astern while battles remain on further behind. Robert Grosser and Johnny Garrett going nose to tail for the number 7 spot. Johnny Garrett trying to see if he can hunt to the inside. Can't get the run going down the front stretch that time by, though. And they'll remain in lockstep with Vortex Sim Racing leading the way in the battle for 7th.
Grosser still trying to hang on. Johnny Garrett's found a lot of speed. Ever since they got past, who was it? Ever since they got past Hans Pitkanen, I feel like VJO and Johnny Garrett have picked up a good chunk of speed. Now trying to get past one more. Grosser's kind of been struggling since the start of this race. I feel like he's kind of been on a free fall since the drop of the green flag. Qualified on pole, just giving up the 7th place spot. I think he's going to give up 8th here. Pretty
soon. Into the wall.
Out. Johnny Garrett has found the fence out of turn 2. Ended up making it 3 wide before we get down to turn 3.
He is, I cannot stress to you how unbelievably lucky Garrett is that that was not a harder hit. That could have destroyed his car. It could have destroyed his race. I think he escaped that without much damage, and he can thank his lucky stars for that.
I just don't know how, man. That was a heavy impact. Oh, Aiken.
Oh, around he goes.
And through the grass.
Bounces off the inside fence, but again, a hit, but not a big hit. He should be able to get away with that.
Johnny
I think
Garrett
he'll
pitting.
be back rolling.
I think Johnny Garrett was struggling after that wall hit because he's coming down pit road.
That doesn't quite surprise me. It was a sizable hit to the wall. Take a ride on board here with Garrett as he came down. Oh, whoa, yeah, look at the right front. That knocked the suspension a little loose. It didn't fully turn the car around, but that will have given him damage. So he's going to be forced to pit road, and Aiken just lost that by himself. I believe Aiken, too, is into the pits.
Yeah, he tagged the inside wall a little bit. That's probably a lesser impact than what we saw from Johnny Garrett, but just coming up the hill on a bad angle, and it knocked him around. I mean, you saw it bend in and then bend back out, so I'm not 100% certain on Aiken. I feel like he probably got away without any damage, but I want to say Johnny Garrett's hurting.
And that really does just leave the top three as the lone battle on the racetrack. Andrew Aiken is going to back out onto the racetrack, so only light damage repairs to the 27 to get himself back rolling. Only in the box for 9 seconds, in fact, so might have thought there was worse damage than there was. He is now sitting 2 laps down as a result. Johnny Garrett also making his way out of pit road, slightly long in the box, 33 seconds. We'll also see him 2 down.
Yeah, Garrett was definitely getting damage repair, right, sitting there for that long. So tough break for Johnny Garrett, but man, that was a heavy impact to the wall. He was flying though. He was getting up to the 7th place position, making moves, and then just one error as soon as he gets up there. Lucas LaVille looking to the inside of Ethan Aiken for the race lead. Looking to take the race lead back. Aiken's just going to give it to him, not fight him too hard.
Smart move there for Aiken, recognizing it is still in the early stages of this race. No point in really sending it down the inside to get that spot back. So LaVille takes up the lead. Aiken will now have the chance to save some field. All the while, Cameron Dance continues to bide his time back in 3rd.
Yeah, Cameron Dance can definitely throw up a fight at some point if he wanted to, but I feel like he's just doing the fuel saving. He's running his own race back here, not really getting involved, just making sure he's within fight distance of the race leaders and keeping that thing safe. I like Cameron Dance's strategy. I think that he's kind of playing this race the smartest of anybody.
Battle on for the 4th place position. Julie Altena taking it away from Lewis Woodall. And that was a pass that came about down the front stretch.
Altena's been quick at the 2 ovals, man. He finished, 3rd last week and looking to put himself onto the top 5 again.
I think, on that one.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Third tie, maybe not a tie that somehow went his way. But either way, we interviewed him last week, and now he's put himself up into the 4th place spot again. So Julian Altena kind of proven himself on the ovals, as he might have found the fence coming out of turn 2 that time.
Just about caught it as Lucas LaVille trying to push up to the outside. Ethan Aiken running in 2nd. Cameron Dance is 3rd. And, Dance looking like he's starting to back off a little bit here, so we could be seeing Dance starting to lose a lot of that pace we've seen out of him this last little while. We'll see if he can get that gap sorted and get back to it. But for now, he's still on the backslide. We're now in the longest green flag run we've had all race.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just going to continue, right? I mean, we have dwindled in car numbers and contenders, and some of our groups have spread apart. So I think it is going to become mostly a strategy race.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Oh, Dance in the fence.
Oh boy. Cameron Dance in the fence, and caution is out. And I believe that was for Hans Pitkinen, who I'm showing has had an incident on track. So Dance finds the wall just as the yellow flag comes out. Let's look first at Dance.
No. Yeah, Dance just got a little wide coming out of 2. Not going to be a big deal. Just scrubbed some speed.
Lucky that it got caution immediately after that, because now we can check for damage.
I don't think he'll have any damage, but he'll definitely be able to. He was starting to struggle anyway, so I think that him putting on tires is going to be good here. But yeah, Pitkinen just got the curb and overcorrect.
Oh, that's going to be a big hit. Oh, heavy lick for the Finnish driver. Destroys the whole left side of that car, and he's going to bring it to a stop against the inside wall, and that forces yellow flag number 4, I think now.
Yep. Well, I expect everybody still on the lead lap to come down pit road, right? Everybody that hadn't pitted, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity. After our longest green flag run of the day, to come down pit road, put on 4 fresh tires, perhaps.
Here comes the field. Lucas Laville leads them in. We'll see who's going to be leading them out. Oh, it's a race between Laville and Egan, and Laville just beats the 20 off the lane.
That was really close between those two coming off. Dance still in third. Altina looks like he's come out fourth, so it doesn't look like there's too much change at the top of the field.
Look at this
It's tight,
here.
though.
This is close. That's less than half a car length.
And remember, it's by the head. So it could have changed it in the line, man. It
On
could have
board
changed
with
the line.
Laville on his run out of pit road. Sorry, we'll go on board with Ethan Egan as he made his way out of pit road. And you'll see how close this was. There he is, and by that much. The only difference was how quickly they could reach the pit speed limiter in time.
Yeah, Egan able to get his, the two of Laville able to get the tires on the ground just a little bit earlier than Ethan Egan, and Egan able to beat him to the throttle. Laville able to beat him to the throttle and beat him off of pit road.
Andrew Aitken staying out. He's going to get one of his laps back here for the Flying Scotsman after slamming the inside wall. So that's a good caution for him. He's now only 1 down, has the chance to get back on the lead lap and get another lucky yellow.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough to find another one, right? To fight your way back in the IndyCar or an IndyCar and get your laps back is a lot harder than NASCAR, right? You don't get all the free passes and whatnot. You got to be in front of the race leaders after the pit cycle, so it'll be tough for him. It's not out of the question. Still 140 laps left in this thing, but it'll be a tall task.
Coming up on Green Flag TV tonight was due to be the ASRL Next Gen Cup Series race. Now, as of right now, we are not going to be covering that due to scheduling conflicts. Well, at least won't be covering it live. We should be able to cover it, of course, live to tape. It will be airing. That was supposed to be on Wednesday. It may very well turn to Tuesday night because the TNG IL Truck Series was able to be done live as well. Depends on how events pan out throughout the day elsewhere, but we'll keep you posted, obviously, on our Green Flag TV YouTube channel with that one for updates. What is guaranteed is the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Series will be back in action. They are going to Martinsville, and that'll be coming up next this coming Monday. That'll be interesting, to put it mildly. As well as that, the Beer League has their website.
Are going to Martinsville?
Sorry?
They're going to Martinsville?
No.
The Beer League should go to Martinsville with no cautions.
I believe the Beer League might be off this week. I'm just looking for the schedule. They are not. Okay, they will be running this week. They have not. I do not believe they have made the spin. They're going to be racing at Zandvoort, but the Grand Prix layout, not that really tiny layout. That they took that off the wheel.
They need to have an announcer's pick, and we pick Martinsville.
You hate me as the producer, don't you?
I think it would be fun.
For you, you don't have to scroll through all the cameras for that. Pace car
have
is
a
off.
static camera in each corner.
Laville hightailed it to the green flag. We get back to it. 99 for the lap count on the board.
Yep, still 137 left to go. 138. So
Yeah,
Laville
138 there.
still up in the race lead. And it's a little bit more spread out between the top 3 or 4 on this restart. Not quite as tight and packed between the top 3. Ethan Hagan trying to just get the draft off of Lucas Laville, pull himself and Cameron Nance up there. Julian Altena with his kind of first opportunity to restart this high up to see if he can actually keep pace with our front 3, see if he can stay in that draft and perhaps put himself into contention for the race win.
Only 8 cars remain on the lead lap, and as of right now, we're down to just 11 running on the racetrack from the 19 that started this race. So we finally took the lap counter over to triple digits after almost an hour of running. I think it is worth bringing up that time, or once again, right, Austin? I mean, if this race was based off of their usual 2-hour time limit, it would be long based off a time from here until the end. I mean, I think that much is a guarantee. Right now, though, if you switch to the timer, they've only got about an hour and a half left on the board. Now, if they run green at the end, they should be able to get that in. But if we get too many more cautions, this race could be based off of time now instead of on laps.
Yeah, I feel like if we get like 2 more yellows, it might be based off of time. It's cutting it close right now, but I feel like, you know, with the less amount of runners that we have right now, I feel like we're gonna stop having so many. God, well, as soon as I say that, somebody's on the apron coming out of turn number 4. That might have been Woodle. Yeah, it was Woodle having a bit of a struggle coming back up on the racetrack. I think he caught the curbing on the inside, and you know, I was about to say I think the cautions are gonna stop, but as long as that curbing's down there on the inside of 3 and 4, I think we're gonna keep seeing issues.
Right there, you saw Woodle was indeed sideways. Just coming back up onto the racetrack. Watch this. Oh boy. That almost was caution number 5.
Oh. And that might have taken out, you know, 5th on back. That might have taken out everybody else on the lead lap. That's a tight spot. Good job by Woodle hanging on, because that would have been so easy to overcorrect, but he did a good job hanging on to it and keeping everybody still in the race. That was a nervy moment, though, for sure.
1, 2, and 3, all within 0.3 of a second as they run it down the racetrack. Further behind, Woodle trying to run down VJO to make that move once again after he lost 2 positions as a result of the mistake of his own dueling, and now VJO really flirting with the outside fence.
Ooh. I was saying that we were not going to have the cautions, but these guys are trying to prove me wrong. They're wanting to up the caution count, I think, and end this race on time. They're scaring me a little bit, man. After these restarts, everybody from 4th on back just races so hard.
Lucas Laville
Ian
still
Hoffman's in that group trying to get a lap back. He's trying to fight his way through. He's up to what would be the 5th place spot.
I think that's a bit much. I mean, that's still, what, 3 seconds back? I don't think he's going to be able to make his lap back from way back there. All right now that he's got to do is look for another yellow flag that forces everybody into pit road so we can just stay out and take a lap back that way. The problem is he's already stayed out under this yellow flag. I don't think he's going to do that twice in a row. I think he would have to pit or he'd end up running out of fuel and lose the lap back anyway.
I would have to agree with you. He's 2 point.
Well,
Aiken.
that answers that. No dice, and he'll be out of the race. We're down to 10.
Well, Jan Hoffman's trying to do the same thing. He's 5 laps down, but he's actually running similar lap times as the
Hoffman
front 3 leaders.
I think he's waiting for cars to eliminate themselves like Aiken just did to pick up some extra points.
I agree, but if the cautions fall at the perfect time after he's run down the race leaders, you know, it'd still be impressive for him to get a lap or 2 back.
Ouch.
But he has 5 down, so it's gonna be a little bit tougher. Andrew Aiken, though, yeah, that's gonna end the rest of his night. He's gonna drop back to, I believe, the 10th place spot as Johnny Garrett's still on the racetrack. Actually, he'll fall back to 11th as Jan Hoffman's still on the racetrack too. So tough break there for Aiken.
And you still see the tire marks from the last, 4 cars that went off at the exact same point of the racetrack. They're gonna have to replace that wall sooner or later.
Front 3 leaders still. Oh, Julian Altena. Did he find the fence out of turn 4? He's struggling.
I think he has, yeah. I mean, look at that car struggling to keep that thing in a straight line. Lewis Woodle made the pass, and nearly into the fence again. I'm don't know what happened there to Julian Altena. Lewis Woodall made up a handful of spots, though. So Woodall made the pass of Caleb Weekly down the backstretch into turn number 3. And then Altena.
What in the world? I don't think he did find the fence, but it looked like he was struggling. Like, the car looked undrivable there for a minute, so I thought he found the fence. But
that was the lap earlier.
I don't think there was anything too crazy.
Oh, it looked like he found it in the middle of the front stretch there, but I think he may have just got a bad line coming through 4. I don't think he caught it at all.
It's a good break for Altena. It looked like that was going to be worse on the initial camera angle. I could have swore he was hurting, but just going to settle into the 5th place spot after making a little bit of an error coming out of 3 and 4. Lucas LaVille getting really close to the fence coming out of turn 2. That's kind of the one thing I'd be worried about in the front group if they are just playing nice. You know, what if you're Ethan Hagen and Lucas LaVille just finds the wall out of turn 2? You got nowhere to go, and you're just going to destroy him. So you got to be a little bit careful running this playing nice game.
And that angle just confirmed it. Altena never brushed the wall. He just got a bad line going. Kind of like LaVille just did there in 2. Here comes Hagen.
Again, I don't think Hagen's willing to do anything. He's kind of lifting and coasting before the end of the straightaway, just saving some gas. So I want to say Hagen and Dance are playing the long game with the saving. Well, as soon as I say that, Hagen had such a big run through 3 and 4 that he's got to stick it down to the inside. I mean, goodness.
Well, it wouldn't be a green flag race if at least one of us wasn't eating our flags at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been doing it all day anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, it'd be like that sometimes. Maybe LaVille's just trying to save some gas too. So now he's like, okay, go on, buddy, you can have it.
Ethan Hagen back to the race lead, and Julian Altena making another pass on on Caleb Weekly. And that was down the front stretch around the outside. So the outside worked out for him on the second attempt. Takes the spot back. VJO was not able to capitalize.
It's a pretty line through 1 and 2 also. That late apex, able to just swoop around him and take the preferred groove coming off the corner. Great move from Julian Altena to hang on to that 5th place position over Weekly. Still these front 3 not getting too feisty. Cameron Dance very content with running in the 3rd place spot for now.
Top 3 still run under half a second separated. The second battle pack in this field starts at about the 5th place and runs back to Caleb Weekly and VJO. Not the same distance up to the race leaders. So 2 identical battles shaken up in the midfield. That has really been whittled down because we're only left with 10 cars on the racetrack.
It's a little strange. Not too many guys out here at this point. Ethan Hagen just caught the rumble curb on the inside of 1 and 2. I was a little worried he was going to be the next victim of the exit at turn number 2, but he's able to hang on to it, hang on to the race lead. Hagen still coming out of turn 4, able to hang on, reaching the halfway point. 118, well, next time by, 118 will be down, 118 to go.
I do like how patient a lot of the drivers in this race have been as of late. I mean, they have really been looking to make sure that they have not been pushing it too hard. They've been keeping it nice and tidy. And the yellow flag is out. And
that's the green flag TV jinx.
Oh, no. It's Altena. Your 3rd place podium finish. I think that's 3 for 3 now with the podium runners from last week, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
Save for LaVille. LaVille
right.
running in 2nd. So look out, Lucas.
Oh, and that's destroyed. That left front, that's gonna hurt. Altena was pretty quick.
He's already backwards there.
I mean, he did it in the middle of the corner, I guess.
Had to have. By himself, caught the curb again, and that car snaps around, and he's gonna back that thing hard into the wall.
Oof, that's a big hit. Yep, that's gonna take a lot of fixing.
That might be game over. We're down to 9. So he slides backwards and brought it to a stop on the front straightaway. Riding on board with Altena here. caught the wall. And he has stayed out. Right.
That's one strategy.
I don't think we're seeing the correct damage model anymore. I'm going to be honest. I don't know why you wouldn't come down to pit road with that. Austin, what do you think?
I mean, he's turned to, I don't know, man. I think it's, I feel like it's off, isn't it?
Was it because he was a lap, well, he's coming down now. Was it maybe because he was a lap down when the yellow came out? Did he not get going in time?
I don't know what to tell you,
on the late lap.
I think we're seeing the accurate thing.
Why would you not come down to pit road with the others? That's a new one. Well, yellow flag is out, and we'll let this sort itself out. We'll be back in a moment. Getting set to return to green flag racing. Pace car looking to pull off. Ethan Hagen getting set to make the jump back to the restart. You see it on the clock. An hour and 18 minutes to go, but we are over halfway in both time and laps. At this point, we're racing against that clock to see if we can make it in on the allocated time distance. Ethan Hagen takes off. The green flag comes back out. Cameron Dance in hot pursuit.
Yeah, and Lucas LaVille all the way back in the 6th place spot after the pit cycle. So he's got some work that he's got to do. He's looking way to the inside of each. Oh, Lucas LaVille has to come down pit road. I think he's got some type of penalty off the restart.
Oh dear, Lucas LaVille with the penalty. We'll take a ride on board, see if we can find out what it was. I think passing before the line.
I mean, Grosjean's giving it to him. That's a tough one. It looks like Grosjean's just giving it to him way down on the inside of the racetrack.
I'm stumped on that one. I mean, you're allowed to pass around the outside. Wonder if maybe Iverson thinks he jumped it.
Either way, that takes one of our front 3 guys out of it, right? Lucas LaVille is.
That's 3 for 3 on the podium.
You were saying he better watch out. I didn't think it would happen that quick.
All right, then. Ethan Aiken out in front. Cameron Dance running in second. We're watching the battle, though, for VJO and Robert Grosser. They're scrapping for the 5th spot on the racetrack right now. At this point, this race is turning into a test of endurance.
No kidding.
LaVille had to hold for 1 lap.
It's a war of attrition at this point, I'd say.
Oh, boy. And Grosser and VGO both nearly got into the wall. Grosser with the run, takes it to the inside of the Finnish driver, and he's into the top 5.
I mean, it's anybody's best. I mean, we still got 110 laps of this, where I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan Aiken or Cameron Dance makes some type of similar mistake at some point. I mean, I know that they've kind of been the 2 dominant guys other than Lucas LaVille, but I mean, I feel like one of these guys could make a similar mistake and hurt themselves.
Altena back into the infield, just got that car fixed and immediately went down, and I believe has found the wall again. Oh yeah, he did.
That thing's oh my word.
Oh boy. I don't think he like slammed it. It looked like he just kind of caught the edge of it. Doesn't help that he blinked out either, so it's a bit tough to find where he actually is on the racetrack. But Julio Altena's woes continue. And he is somehow still on the lead lap after that hard hit that he took up in turn 3.
Yeah, with it turning into a war of attrition, all Altena has to do is keep that thing clean the rest of the race, and he might come away with the top 5. So he just needs to kind of back it down and just hang on to the race car at this point, right? I think, even though we've said multiple times already that we don't think we're gonna have too many cautions.
Oh boy!
I'm starting to think otherwise. That's Lucas LaVille again, right off of his issue on pit road.
Well,
even with that, I still feel like we're going to have another caution at some point, because it's just turned into that war of attrition where one tiny mistake will ruin somebody's race.
Well, if LaVille wasn't out of it before, he sure is now. LaVille tried to bounce back, and the physics said, nope, you're done. And that's going to be a very abrupt end to LaVille's night on a very hard impact into the wall.
Oh, my.
I think that's got one of the hardest hits we've seen all day, because that's one of the only hits that has rebounded a car back onto the racetrack.
Oh, man. I can't believe we didn't get a yellow for it. I guess nobody came around.
Yeah.
While he was down there, got a little lucky, but I don't think that's the end of it tonight.
Again,
just looks harmless.
Coming off the banking, but that's all it takes, right? I mean, that little, like, 8-9 degrees, or I guess more than 10 degrees of banking, when you're coming off the corner, that's all it takes to send those cars around. It is so subtle. And that's part of why they don't run the oval downforce packages here. Because this is with the higher downforce road course packages on these cars, right? Could you imagine what that corner would be like if they were running the oval ones that we saw at Charlotte a few weeks ago?
Probably be impossible.
That's why they run these packages here.
Yeah, there's just no way.
You were asking before why they would do that, and it seems like a strange choice. Well, I think this race has adequately shown why.
It has definitely been answered. Man. Lewis Woodall has flown up to the back of these front 2 runners. He put a challenge on Cameron Dance. It did not come off well through 1 and 2 that time. But, man, he's gunning for it. He's run these guys down and immediately putting them under pressure as soon as he gets there.
I'll tell you what, for having like only 9 cars on the racetrack, the racing is still epic. Like, there's always something to talk about. That's part of why I like the classic Indycar season, right? Quite a few of their races do turn into wars of attrition, because these are not easy cars to drive by any stretch of the means. But the racing that they put on is so phenomenal week in and week out, there's always something to talk about.
Yeah, and Woodall actually has a chance this time, coming down at a 3 and 4, side by side, has the inside groove a little bit better through 3 and 4. And Lewis Woodall, man, he's flying. Like you mentioned, anytime that they get close together and they get to racing, it's fantastic. And anytime Woodall is in the middle of it, it seems to be some darn good racing, because he is a challenger, man. He's flying up to the back of Ethan Aiken.
Lewis Woodall seeing if he can make that charge. He did come down a pit road under this latest caution. Aiken did not. So could that be why we see Woodall now with this extra top-end charge?
I mean, he's flying. He is absolutely gunning for him. I mean, he's got 24 lap fresher tires. So I guess I can't say I'm too surprised, but he's putting these guys in a very difficult position because you never know how the strategy is going to play out from here. If they've got the same amount of pit stops left, well, Woodall's going to be looking good because he's going to be able to build out this gap.
Woodall into the race lead off of turn number 4 for the first time all night long. The 13 car is to the point. We saw him battling big time for the spots around the top 5. I never clocked him as being a driver that we'd be seeing up at the front here, but boy, proving me wrong as the 13 car is into the race lead and running away with it.
He's just really got to hope that the cautions don't fall in a bad way for him. If we get another couple cautions, it could put him in jeopardy, but right now he's looking good, fighting up to the front of the field, and I do think he'll be able to break this gap as long as he hasn't killed those tires too bad.
Under 100 laps to go as well, so we are very much started to enter that point in time where the drivers have got to start thinking long-term strategy. At this point, I think there's 1, perhaps 2 stops left. I believe, I'm going to consult my notes here again, but I believe it's about 60 laps or so for a tank of fuel around this place, but don't quote me on that just yet. I'm going to consult the notes here and then get back to you on that officially.
Oh, I think that oh, race leader's in the fence.
Oh, boy.
He was pushing, trying to break that draft, and he's put himself back into second place. Dance looking to the inside into 3 and 4. Woodall protecting the top. I'm not sure if he got any right side damage with that. Looked okay through 3 and 4, but lost the race lead, lost that gap he was building. But I do think we're on a 2-stop. If it's 60 laps on a tank of gas, Ethan Hagen's been out there for 44. So
it is about 60.
Yeah, so he's still got to go probably 15, 20 laps on this set, which would get him to 160. And then another 60 would only get him to 220. So we should still be on a 2-stop for everybody. Except, oh my goodness, Lewis Woodall. I think Lewis Woodall's on a 1-stop.
And Lewis Woodall just took that lead back again in 3 and 4 that last time by. So pulling away from Ethan Hagen behind. Let's take a ride on board with Woodall here. And
I'm pretty sure everybody has to pit twice except or at least our 2 normal leaders, Ethan Hagen and Cameron Dance. They have to pit twice. I'm pretty sure everybody else only has to pit 1 more time.
That was a little bit after the impact. Let's take a jump back here and let's watch on board. That's a pretty sizable impact. I don't know, but I don't think enough. It looks like to hamper his overall pace, but enough that I would be a little bit concerned.
I would too, because if you hit it again, it's more likely to break, right? The repetitive impacts increase the damage potential. Even on iRacing, they do a good job mapping that out. So I would be worried for that. I think he's A-okay for now. Got a little bit fresher tires on that thing. He's got the clean air now. And again, I think he only has to pit 1 time. And Ethan Hagen and Cameron Dance have to pit twice. I think that if this thing runs green, those 2 might have screwed themselves.
Lewis Woodall still hanging on. Ethan Hagen running in the number 2 spot. Cameron Dance in 3rd, just behind. They have all built up. Total 4-second gap over Robert Groscher, who runs in 4th. This right now, the only battle on the field that is under half a second.
I do think that damage is hurting him enough to where he can't pull away now, right? I think it's hurt him a little bit to where he's just not able to break that gap or bring that gap out. He had done it over Ethan Hagen a little bit before he had tapped the fence. So I do think that it's hampering the 13 a bit. I'd be more worried about, repetitive impacts. We're seeing Altena still out on the racetrack in the 6th place spot, picking up that position away from Caleb Weekly.
Oh, here he goes. Woodall to the inside, and the caution is out. And it's for Altena. Again, this car finding the inside wall. That's like, what, the 3rd time that car's wrecked down the same corner, and that time the nose cone is left stranded on the infield.
There's no way he stays on the lead lap this time, right? I mean...
Surely not.
There's no way.
And yet again, we get ever closer to running out the clock.
Oh, the curb. Was it the curb? Okay, it was not the curb.
It was
this time.
not.
Just got a little bit too wide on the exit.
Banking.
He's
Yep,
way
there
out
it
there.
is. And slides and... Oh!
Oh, my.
I think that's the biggest hit we've seen yet to that inside wall.
have to agree with you. That was a hard one. And that's gonna hurt his chances of staying on the lead lap and getting a decent finish. Well, I mean, I say that. He's still gonna finish in the top 10 due to the attrition rate, but, well, his left front looks similar after the last one. And, okay, well, he's crab walking down the pit road now this time. So I think that this might actually be it for Altena. I'm not too sure. I don't want to count him out just yet, but I don't know about that one.
Ethan Hagen gets into his pit box. And once again to the race out of pit road. Woodall not stopping for damage repairs. He is the first one out, but took fuel only. No tires for Woodall.
Wow.
All right, now it gets interesting. Because I don't think... Are we going to go to the end from here? I don't think we are.
No. We still got 90 laps left.
Still a one-stopper then for everyone. And racing action is picking up. We'll be back in a moment. They set to go back to green flag racing. Lewis Woodall, Cameron Dance, Ethan Hagen, Robert Groscher, VJO, Caleb Weekly, Johnny Garrett, and Jan Hoffman. The only cars left on track. 8 remain, 6 on the lead lap.
Yeah, talk about a war of attrition, right? I mean, it has been a hectic race, to say the least. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. It is Gateway, after all. This place is pretty mental, and the Indycars have proven it here today. Lewis Woodall up in the race lead. Did not take tires, though, so this is going to be we were talking about hectic. This is going to be a chaotic restart.
Green flag back in the air. And Lewis Woodall going to be under some heavy fire as he makes the drive down towards turn number 1.
Looking good so far. Wasn't too bad out of turn 2. Cameron Dance definitely with a little bit of a better run than Woodall, but not willing to pressure him down into turn 3 and 4, at least not able to make a move.
Big bunch inside for Caleb Weekly to pick off VJO as well, his own teammate. Yeah, Weekly able to get past VJO. They've been battling a good chunk of this race, but up towards the race lead,
It's accordioning together. The top three, nose to tail. Lewis Woodle still hanging on those old tires. Just a couple laps out of the restart. It's going to be harder and harder to hang on as the tire temp comes up on the 2 cars behind.
Ethan Hagan trying to make a look to the inside of Cameron Dance, wants to go for it. Ken Hagan trying to go 2 for 2 down to the turn number 1, looking for the lead as they rip it down in the opening couple of corners, not going to get there. And that buys Woodle, I think, about an extra lap or 2 a time, but Ethan Hagan is not going to wait around forever.
Oh, Hagan already looking to the bottom, coming out of turn number 4. The run came out of nowhere. Up to the outside, through the entrance of 3, back down to the inside, coming out of turn number 4, Ethan Hagan. What a move to get side by side before we get down to the turn number 1. Drives it in deep. Who's it going to be on the outside?
Woodle's still carrying the momentum, and he's going to try to battle back. Takes the spot back from Hagan down the back straightaway, and Hagan can do nothing but tuck back in line.
What a battle between these guys up at the front. Lewis is just not willing to give up that race lead, even on the older tires. It's been tough for him. Hagan back to the inside. Can he do it this time? A little bit better run coming down into the corner. Looks like he's going to be able to take it away. Can Woodle get the run coming out of the corner?
Nothing so far that Woodle's able to do as Ethan Hagan trying to see if he can take that move away. Down to the turn number 1. Woodle hangs on to 2nd. Dance in 3rd. Grocer hanging on for 4th. And can we see a Vortex Sim Racing car get back onto the podium after what has been such a trying day for the German outfit?
Man, it's been a trying day for everybody. It's been a little tough for just about everybody out there. Cameron Dance trying to get to the inside of Woodle. This time he cannot wait. He cannot just allow Woodle to hang him up or hold him up the entire time or for this entire run. He's got to get back up to the back bumper of Ethan Hagan. But man, that was wide out of turn number 4 for Cameron Dance.
I believe it'll be 80 to go this time by at the line, so we've still got 1 pit stop left in the board for us this afternoon. Oh, look out! Huge crash! Rocher up and over! 1 car flipping into the infield. It's Caleb Weekly. Caution is out again, and a huge crash on the back straightaway.
Oh my word, that was absolutely massive. Coming out of turn number 2, Caleb Weekly, Robert Grosier. I mean, whoa. What in the world?
That was a monster ride there.
It all started with Lewis Woodle hitting the outside fence out of turn number 2.
Take a look at this, slowing it down as Woodle scrapes the outside wall. Grosier with nowhere to go, launches up into the air, kicks sideways, then gets into Weekly, who kicks up on his side. Nearly went over as they slid down into the infield, and they both go hard into the inside wall.
VJO ends up being the lucky one out of them, getting through there, but that's another 3 cars out of it, man. This is the biggest war of attrition race I have seen in a hot minute.
How did VJO get out of that? What was that? Take a look from the air. Watch the 3rd car. That has got to be. No way.
That's incredible. What a job he just did to get through there. There's no chance, man.
With Grosier. Oh, that's a ride. And then a view as well. As he saw Weeknum's getting kicked up and over, and then noses it into Weeknum, but had no control over that car. Couldn't steer. Nothing he could have done. With Weekly. Man, Weekly lucky that car didn't go over. Not like it would have mattered anyway. I mean, it's still out of the race.
Goodness, man. I mean, it's so heartbreaking for these guys. You know, they've ran this whole thing, put themselves in a good position, and I mean, because of that, we're down to 3 cars on the lead lap.
And holy cow, that is incredible. And by the way, Lewis Woodle he did end up having to take the tow to the pits because of how much damage he took as a result of that impact onto the back of his car. I mean, that's a hard hit to the wall in itself, but then got launched over the rear. I mean, that car was broke. He was forced to stop.
Oof.
Golly.
This has been a crazy race. This has been absolutely insane.
Look at the air that Groscher gets here. Got fully almost cleared Woodall. And then spun down to the racetrack right into the path of Caleb Weekly. And again, Weekly with some big air. And then somehow VJO escapes through the middle. Weekly's car skipping across the infield before going heavily into the inside wall. One more look. We'll get a look on board with VJO here as he approaches this mess. And I mean, just found a way through that.
What a sight to see, man. And the thing is, he's got 2 wheels on the road and 2 wheels on the grass. That's not the easiest thing at an IndyCar, trying to dodge a wreck. That's kind of what impressed the heck out of me. Is I figured he'd get on the gas or hit the brakes a little bit due to the wreck or put a little bit too much wheel into it and send that thing around. But he kept calm even whenever he was half off the racetrack.
And that's put in the second. He's into the number 2 spot now because of that.
What a race from him, man. I mean, he's just been methodically hanging around. It looks like it's going to work out for him. I mean, he's in the top 3. We've only got 3 guys within 2 laps of him.
Oh. And I think we've only got 5 cars on the racetrack total right now to boot. Cameron Dance is, what's that left front? That left front is broke on Dance's car. Look at that.
Is it?
It looks like, it looks like the camber is a little towed out on that car. It's a bit hard to tell. Trying to get a look at it here when it comes at you head on, but you see that left front? I mean, look at how far towed in that wheel looks, or towed out it looks. Is that?
It definitely looks a little strange.
Well, I mean, comparing it on this shot to all the other cars, I think, no, that's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I'm so used to seeing wheels towed out, but yeah, you can see the angle on all the other wheels is about the same, so I was a little thrown off, particularly by how low he was on the racetrack out of the pacing line, but I think we're going to have we got about under an hour left now to get this race wrapped up. They cannot afford to have another caution or so. We only got 5 cars, but it only takes 1.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to get to the end of this thing and not have to worry about the time. We're cutting down on the laps.
Back to green. And only 5 remain, only 3 on the lead lap. I think this has been the biggest war of attrition I've seen so far. We are up to 75% DNF rate in this field.
That's oh man, I've never seen so many outs on the left side of my ticker before. I mean, holy cow. What a sight to see. Like, we just need a little tiny ticker with 3 cars. We can bring the horizontal ticker back. We've only got 3 cars running for it, right?
Ethan Hagen out in front. Cameron Dance makes the move on VJO for second. And looking like he's going to be able to break away from that. I don't think VJO is in too much of a rush here to push for anything. And that's going to see Dance try to run down Hagen with no battles left on the track.
Yeah, VJO might be content with his top 3, right? And not really push the issue. And I would not blame him whatsoever. Take the points, have the good day, and keep the race car clean. I mean, he's just about guaranteed it anyway, but he's still got Garrett and Hoffman out on the racetrack. Ian Hoffman, who we thought was out of this thing right off the bat, is somehow in a top 5 position. Like, legitimately, he's top 5. So, credit to him for sticking with it.
I mean, at this point, I think he'll take anything, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Taking a look at the pit strategy here, and I think this graphic can really give you an idea of where the attrition has settled in throughout the... If anything, this is the attrition counter, right? Because it tracks where everybody has found themselves out throughout the course of this race.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I like it. We can change the name at the top, but you know, if this thing does run on time, I don't think it will. We still got what, 80 laps?
52 minutes on the docket, though.
Oh, 52 minutes. I was thinking that was 52.
No, not 52 laps. 52 minutes.
That confused me for a second. Okay.
It did for me too. There's usually supposed to be a second count in there. I'm not sure what's happened to it.
We've still got like 70 laps left. So I don't think that we're gonna struggle on the time if we run green. But yeah, I think you're right. If we have one more caution, it might make it a time race.
You'd be hard pressed to get a caution, though, right? I mean, because nobody is right now within a second of each other. Everybody is just running by themselves. The only two cars that are actually within a second are VJO and Hoffman. But Hoffman's 4 laps down, so I'm not expecting him to push hard at all. He is not getting back to the lead lap. I think that's very evident. Unless the top 3 all take themselves out, and Garrett as well, and Hoffman's the only one on the track.
To be fair, that's possible.
It is.
From what we've seen so far.
You're not wrong. At this point, I would normally say that's preposterous, but with only 5 cars out of 19 on the track.
All it takes is our race leader, Ethan Hagen, touching the curbing on the inside of the racetrack and slowing up right in the racing groove, and Cameron Dance and VJO just pile in. That's his opportunity. That's his win condition.
Well, he's got to make sure that he doesn't get into himself. And how about that? VJ actually going to pull down to the inside and let Hoffman through. I think recognize that Hoffman is the faster driver. He doesn't want to fight it. He knows he's in a great points position right now, especially given his season so far. He is more than content to let a lapped car, especially one that's 4 laps down through. He loses nothing by doing it. He's losing time to lose anyway. No point in trying to force that issue. And again, it's a good call. He has made it to all 4 races so far, but it has not been stellar. He has failed to finish inside of the top 10 4 times. He has only ever lost position from where he qualified. It has not been a good season so far for this iconic motorsports driver. He is desperate for more. His finish
that's a good
so
point
far.
To why. Sorry, go ahead.
The best finish he's had so far has been 14th at Long Beach and Kona.
And that's exactly why he's super content with just riding right now in 3rd. And I don't blame him one bit. Like you were mentioning, it helps him. It could completely turn his season around, right? A little bit of confidence coming out here, missing a couple wrecks, showing decent pace all night, and just keeping that thing clean to the end of it. And getting to come up here and talk to us, get the interview afterwards. It can do a lot for your confidence, man, coming to the next week, and we could see VJO challenging for the top 5.
Well, race in action going to continue steady on. Ethan Hagen with the race lead, and Cameron Dance trying to run that gap down. And, well, that's back to Hoffman, who is, again, not on the same lap, so it's not entirely applicable. Let's change that. There we go. I mean, Cameron Dance is closing, but he's not closing by a huge amount.
I feel like Dance has ran a very strategic race from the beginning, though. And I feel like we're not seeing anything different. I think he's pushing himself just as hard as he needs to. I've liked what I've seen from Cameron Dance so far. I mean, I've liked what I've seen from Ethan Hagen, too. But I feel like Dance has run a very intelligent race so far. Having a little bit of struggle through 1 and 2 that time, but I'm liking what I've seen out of Dance.
So race in action continues on, and we got nothing else going on right now, so we may as well talk to one of the drivers that's had some unfortunate luck this afternoon. Let's get in touch here with Robert Groscher. Groscher currently going to be scored in 6th. That looks like it's going to be where it's going to remain. As Robert, you find yourself down and out of the race. It's an unfortunate way to see your night come to a close, but gotta be one of the most attrition-filled races we've seen in CIS history here.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I was not expecting that, to be honest. But yeah, one after the other is retiring from this race. Race of attrition. The walls are pretty hard here, I guess.
I mean, kind of walk us through this one, because obviously it's a very different oval compared to the 1.5-mile quad oval of Charlotte where we were at 2 weeks ago. And I think it's proving very much that just because, I mean, the tracks both turn left, the ovals are never identical to one another, no matter where you go.
Oh yeah, that is true. I mean, this is totally different from Charlotte, which we raced 2 weeks ago, and also different from Pocono, which we will race in 2 weeks' time. It's just very unique because turn 1 and 2 has different radius than 3 and 4. It's a bit like the small version of Motegi, so very unique place, a bit tricky, very hot conditions today. I mean, maybe I'm not so qualified to tell that because I was really off the pace after the pole position. I had no real race pace, no confidence also because of lack of practice and all. So I felt it was at my pace it was manageable with weight checker and all to keep the car straight. But of course for the front runners they are maybe running a bit more hot, and yeah, I guess they paid for it.
And you mentioned Pocono coming on up next, and one of the most unique ovals on the schedule, I think just behind the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But three-turn triangle racetrack, the only one of its kind. It'll be the first Triple Crown race of the season as well, the first of 3 500-mile races, so one of the longest races on the season. How's the racing again going to differ? Is it going to be more pack racing at Pocono, or will it be more spread out?
Oh, that's a very good question. Because with my predictions, I'm not so precise anymore since we got this new like surface model and some other updates. We raced Pocono, this legacy version of Pocono, last time in 2018, so that's 6 years. And it's a very bumpy track, first of all. I'm not really expecting pack racing, to be honest. And of course, with 500 miles, a very strategic race for sure.
Well, we'll get set to see how things are going to pan on out. I guess 3 weeks from now then. Robert, as always, a pleasure to have you up here. It's a tough break tonight, but hey, I mean, 6th place, you may be a DNF, but still decent points on the boards. We'll get set to see you a few weeks from now.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I have to say I may get good points, but it just feels so wrong. We messed up one restart. I wanted to give way to Lucas, who was much faster. And somehow we executed it not so well. He got a penalty for passing under yellow. Even if I had finished on the podium, it would just taste very bitter to me because I feel like I ruined it for Lucas.
Well, regardless, it was still a decent night for the both of you up until that point. Hopefully it'll be better luck next week. There's always more. There's still a long season to go.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you.
Robert Groscher joining us up here. He will be finishing this race in the 6th position after he has retired due to terminal damage. And well, right on cue, Austin, Cameron Dance running down Ethan Hagan. The gap's under half a second.
Yeah, I said I like what I saw from Cameron Dance, and, well, he's getting there. Now he's firmly within the draft where he really should start clicking it off and maybe be able to pull up to the gearbox of Ethan Hagan. So got one more pit stop on offer for us, too. So when does that green flag stop come? Because I don't think we're going to have another yellow unless it's between the top two racing each other. Holy cow. It could actually happen if BJO might win this race.
Right. I mean, that would be legendary. I mean, imagine that, right? I mean, 14th, 15th, 14th, 19th, 3 results in the afternoon. Then you follow up with a win. I think he would be ecstatic with that. And I would not be surprised if he was absolutely thrilled. Even with the 3rd place finish, right? It is still huge points on the board for the number 96 car.
Is it bad that I'm selfishly hoping that the front two wreck each other now? I'm supposed to remain unbiased in the booth, but because of what has happened, and I just feel like it would cap off the night so perfect.
You're favoring the story over.
Yes. Yeah, you got me. I mean, hey man, it would be hilarious. Oh, they're getting close though. I mean, if it happens, it could be right here. Cameron Dance all over the gearbox of Ethan Hagan down the back straightaway.
Swinging up and wide and trying to see if they can carry that momentum around. He loses a lot of time, but look at how quickly that delta closes down. I think it just took too much out of the outside lane in 3 and 4. It ended up meaning that even though he got a sort of a run going, it wasn't an ideal one.
Yeah, but he got a really good run out of turn number 2. My word, he's slingshotting down the back, all the way back up to the gearbox. So he's basically back exactly where he was last time. And look, I think he's taking your advice. He's not using quite as much racetrack here this time. Still got a decent run and firmly within the slipstream. Trying to give himself an opportunity. Don't know where it's going to come from for Cameron Dance.
Oh, it might come here, looking for the inside now as Ethan Hagan covering off the top lane. Wanting to make sure he does not give up that outside line to give him a big run when he's that close behind. Gap down to a 10th, but not enough for Dance to make the look down to the turn number 3.
Good racing between the top two, keeping it clean so far. Cameron Dance once again trying to get that run on the top side of 3 and 4. He gets a little bit of momentum coming down into turn number 1, but it's just not enough to really make the move. This time trying to get a run coming out of turn number 2. Cameron Dance looking to the inside, down the back straightaway. He's going to be firmly side by side before we get down to 3.
Side by side, they'll take 48 laps to go this time by, and dances through to the lead. Good show for him, and Ethan Hagen now in hot pursuit, trying to get the crossover down to turn 1.
47 to go this time by Ethan Hagen back to the inside, trying to take the spot back, not able to do it. Cameron Dance on the outside. My apologies, 48 laps to go, but Cameron Dance able to hang on to the race lead after taking it a lap ago. I told you I was liking how Dance was looking.
Still looking strong. And we are still waiting for that final pit stop run to come into play. Right now, Hagen's been out there for 43 laps. Expect him to be in within 20. Dance might wait 10 more.
All about that pit stop now. Do they both take tires? Do you save a little bit of time just taking gas on this one? You know, what's the strategy coming down to pit road?
I think it depends on how much tires you have left. If you have an extra tire set, I say go for it. Nothing to lose when you're on a full run. But for a lot of these drivers, I don't know. I mean, Cameron Dance, I know for a fact Ethan Hagen has got one more tire set in the back pocket. He's only stopped 3 times all race long. He guarantee has another tire set to work with. Cameron Dance, it's a bit of a mystery. He's only he's been to the pits 4 times this race.
Oh.
And that last time he came down to pit road was under the last caution where Hagen stayed out.
Interesting. The plot thickens. I have no idea. Well, even if he doesn't have a tire set, I just feel like Dance will push this stint as far as possible. He'll go the full 60 laps and take as little gas as possible, but if not, I mean, he's still looking good, given the fact that he's already driven up and taken the lead from Hagen. The only problem is he's got a little bit fresher tires than Hagen, and he's not actually able to pull away from him because Ethan can just sit in the slipstream here. So Ethan kind of getting some free time, just being able to sit right behind the back bumper of Cameron Dance. But I still think Dance is in a really good spot with the pit stops coming up.
Dance, so far in this race, has gone winless. He has come close, but he has not taken up a race win on the season. Ethan Hagen has only got 1 win to his name as well, and it was with a dominated performance at Sonoma, led flag to flag. He also got a pole 2 weeks ago at Charlotte. The only other driver that went flag to flag for a win was Willie Schwabauer at Long Beach this season. Of course, Cameron Dance was fighting for the top 3 in several races that we've seen so far this season in competition. He sits 3rd place in the points. Now, he was not present at Long Beach, but he finished runner-up in both COTA and Sonoma, and it was a solid top 5 for him at Charlotte. I'm putting him as a solid choice to win the race tonight.
I mean, it is basically a 50-50 shot at this point, right?
It really is.
I mean, I agree, but this is such a weird scenario. I've never seen this broadcasting wise, and it's funny that the front 2 are still just so tight together, and we don't really know exactly who's gonna win it. It still keeps the intrigue up. I mean, I really feel like I'm watching the last race of cars, where there's just 3 guys out on the racetrack.
Talladega Nights, that too.
True. Last 20 laps of Talladega Nights.
You want to know a real-world example of something like this? 2002 in the Busch Series, the almighty big one that saw Rusty Wallace go flipping over and over. Only about 6 cars made it through that unscathed.
Oh my!
Like a dozen were left after that in the race total. You remember that? It was, what was it? The Aaron Sturgeon 12, something like that.
I'm gonna look it up after this. I'll tell you that.
I mean, surely you've seen the wreck of this. I mean, it's been on every crash top known to man.
I probably have seen the wreck, but I can't recall it off the top of my head.
I'll look for it. I know I'll be able to find it. It might not have even been in 2002.
tell you what, I'm really looking forward to the Pocono race. I feel like that's going to be a really, really good show with the Indy cars. I mean, anytime we saw it in real life, it was, right? So I feel like it's going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Going into it in a couple weeks. I don't know. I feel like these things just put on a really good show at the high-speed racetracks where you're keeping that momentum, using the draft down the long straightaways. So I'm excited for that. I feel like that auto club would be cool. Any of the quick racetracks where you keep your momentum through the corner. Man, they just put on such a good show in the Indy cars.
Okay, I was correct. It was the 2002 Aaron's 312, the 30-car rank at Talladega. It was not Rusty Wallace, though. I was confused. It was with the 2-car, but it was Johnny Sauter that went barrel rolling down the backstretch.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, now you know the one.
Yeah.
Sauter, and he's up and over. Yeah, we all know the call. But, yeah, this is... It's like... Corbin wants you to take a look at this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
I mean, so many wrecks at Talladega look just like that, right? The end of the 2001 fall race, I believe, where Bobby Labonte got sent sideways. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Right,
where he got kicked up and over. That was on the last lap, though.
Yeah.
That wasn't with 80 to go.
You're definitely right, but just like those wrecks, coming off of turn number 2 at Dega back in the day, they all look the exact same.
Well,
so it's kind of hard to distinguish a couple of them.
Well, more recently, I think what was it, the 2020 Daytona 500, big wreck about 15 laps in. We were left with about 18 cars for the rest of the race.
I think it was the 21.
Was it 21? It may have been. I think you're right. Yeah, 21. It was the one McDowell won.
Yeah. 21. Because Denny won in 20. Yeah, that was a boring race.
Yeah, it was. I didn't watch it, but I watched other people watch it.
What the heck?
I'm not one to watch racing by myself all that often, I mean, it's always better with another
You watch Flow Sports every single day.
Listen, we don't talk about my Flow Sports obsession. We don't talk about it.
Whenever you tell flat lies.
Not me having 10 tabs open waiting for after this race.
You just don't watch the top tier stuff.
You're not. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not paying for 4 networks for that sort of thing. I mean,
hey, I don't blame you.
We had that.
I don't understand how they do that
discussion
in Canada.
beforehand.
Do you not does it not come in a Canadian bundle?
Nope. I don't even think you can get half those broadcasts up here in Canada.
What?
Yeah, I'd have to get YouTube TV. Ooh, dance. Nearly got the outside wall there coming off too.
See, that's the thing. That could just happen at any moment, and then all of a sudden this whole race explodes again because Ethan Hagen now has to get out of the way before he torpedoes Cameron Dance if he hits the fence, and then VJO comes through and wins it. And we still got a pit stop to worry about.
And that pit stop not too far away. So we'll take a ride on board here with Ethan Hagen. We'll let you take in the sights and sounds as we give ourselves a bit of a vocal break here on Free Flight TV. Ethan Hagen down in the pit road. So the iconic motorsports driver, the first driver to blink, and we're not anticipating for Dance to come down until about 10 laps from now if he's running that one low on fuel. VGO, his teammate, in at the same time.
And Cameron Dance has stayed out on the racetrack. So Ethan Hagen coming down pit road. Gonna put on the fresh tires. Gonna see if he can, maybe he can pull the undercut, right? Maybe he runs a couple laps out there and is able to pass him on pit strategy. I mean, there's definitely some viability in this for Ethan Hagen, especially if Cameron Dance doesn't have a set of tires left. We're still up in the air about whether Dance has another set of tires to put on that number 6.
Hagen, clean in, clean out. VGO, same story. He is also going to be making his way out of pit road. He gets himself back up and onto the racetrack, still holds on to third. Both of those drivers 1 lap down. They will cycle out, though, once Cameron Dance makes his way around. Looking at track where Cameron Dance is. There's your 4th place runner. There's your 2nd place runner. And I think, yep, that is Hoffman coming at you now to the front straightaway. And there is Dance. Is that Dance? There's Dance. Off a turn forward. That is VGO directly in front of him.
How funny would it be if a yellow flag came out in the middle of this pit cycle so they were a lap down?
No. Do not tempt fate like that, man. Not now.
Let's go, Johnny Garrett. Spin it out. No, I'm just kidding. Coming down pit road, Johnny Garrett is. So he's completing his pit stops. Should be the last one for Garrett. Oh man, that's a torn up Indycar right there. I don't know who that was, but
that is Franz Josef Stum from the very first wreck of the race.
Cameron Dance is down pit road. Why is he still in the race? Either way, Cameron Dance is down pit road.
He's just watching. He's having a good time. He's allowed to watch. He's watching for the sidelines.
Fair enough. I just,
might be spotting.
Wouldn't be me.
I was gonna say it might be spotting, but there's nobody for him to spot for. But he's watching. He's having a good time. Same story.
Cameron Dance is up.
Laville actually does.
Cameron Dance was up on the jacks, so I think he got tires.
Yeah, I think everybody got tires. Everybody had a set left. They were all in the box for 8.5, 8.6, and 8.0 seconds. Here comes Ethan Hagen trying to see if he can take the lead back. Coming out of pit road. It's going to be close here coming off the pits.
And Cameron Dance is going to have cold tires for a little bit, so it's going to be tough for him to hold off. Hagen is charging him down.
Gap up to 0.6 of a second, and they are right where they started earlier on in this race. Pretty much in lockstep.
I feel like Hagen has to push over the course of the next 2 or 3 laps and try to get this lead back. Take it while his tires are cold, while he might be able to make a mistake. He's off his rhythm. This is the time he's got to push.
22 to go. If you are interested in rewatching this race back and you may have missed the action and you don't want to go through all the trouble of watching the race back on YouTube after the fact, ESTV, we are of course live streaming on ESTV on their YouTube and Twitch channels right now as well, and they will be rebroadcasting this race on all of their distribution partners at ESTV.co. You can find out all of the distribution partners there. That includes Roku, Prime Video, and more. So be sure to check them out, and they'll be rebroadcasting this race same time next week. For us, though, usually we'll be back the week after that rebroadcast. It will not be the case. We're going to be changing things up here, as we'll be taking a 3-week break. We were due to be back 2 weeks from now. That is not the case, though, because the iRacing Indy 500 is 2 weeks from now. So instead, we'll be back a month from now in June for the Triple Crown.
That's a big break.
Not as big as the summer break, where it's a 5-week break. Well, 4 weeks and then the next race. But, yeah, 200 laps around Pocono Raceway, 500 miles. Going to be a long one. The next road course. It's going to be a
crazy race.
The next road course race isn't until the end of June, on June 30th, and that's at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the road course race.
Still got 19 or 18 laps of the line left of this one to see whether Ethan Hagen can charge down Cameron Dance and put on a show for us up at the front. UJO 19 seconds off these guys, just holding on to that 3rd place, pretty content with it. And it kind of makes you wonder how content are the front two. Like, are they going to fight super, super hard and thinking like, okay, if we wreck, we're just going to go back to 4th and 5th, or are they content with just finishing in the 1st and 2nd spot and not really pushing the issue if they get to racing?
You know, I kind of feel like at this point it's a sort of like a why not mentality. I mean, what do they have to lose? I mean, the worst they're going to finish is 5th. That's still a huge points haul for this point system that they run. I mean,
it's just that Egan is already the points leader with a huge points lead. So I feel like he'll want to just hold on to 2nd and not necessarily push the issue too much because he's got such a big lead.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could be wrong, and I definitely could be wrong. I don't know Ethan Egan personally. He might have a different mindset than me.
I think there's two different mindsets at play right now. There's the mindset of, I have a good points lead. I don't want to compromise that. I should probably just stay where I'm at. Because Cameron Dance is also in 3rd in the points. So a race win is big for Cameron Dance to close in the gap. But it's even worse if Egan wrecks himself out and finishes in the 5th. So there's the conservation mindset. Then there's mindset of send it.
From the broadcast booth, I like to send it one more.
I feel like we're always biased towards the send it one because it gives us things to talk about.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But Ethan Egan also, he's got a little older tires, and I feel like that might be starting to hurt him. Cameron Dance is starting to pull away.
I think you are correct. I mean, the tires are older by 4 laps, which is, in IndyCars, that's a huge margin. You start to really feel that tire wear quite quickly, and he is losing out on a good bit of that time back there as well. So Egan, I don't think is going to be too eager to fight this one out. And I, as much as I want to see him go for it, I don't think he's going to. And I don't blame him for that either. I'm not faulting him for it either. I would probably do the same if I was in his position.
And I gotta say, Cameron Dance has ran a very smart and methodical race. The entirety of this thing, he just spent it getting up to the lead pack, drafting off the back of him the entire time, not really putting any pressure, not doing anything crazy, no egregious moves, not putting himself in danger. And he's just consistently put himself higher and higher in the standings as the night has gone on, and just hasn't really made an error that could put him behind the wall. So I'm just gonna say Cameron Dance just ran such an intelligent race, I'd say.
Well, this man started back in 18th too, right? I mean, he started way down there. So after having a qualifying run be completely compromised, this is going to be massive for him. Whoa! Unless he hits the wall like that.
Oh my
And that was a
goodness,
firm
Cameron.
scrape into the wall. Even had smoke flying, but barely lost a step.
What the heck, man? There's no way you're gonna throw it away after we just say that. There's no way.
A lot can happen in 10 laps, you know.
I know, but I mean, it was right after we were just done talking about how smart he's been all night, and then he just runs it into the fence off a 2. Scared me, man.
VJO is right now the only other driver that's on the lead lap. He is sitting down in that 3rd position. And again, it's been a very trying season for the Finnish driver. I mean, he has not had a lot of good finishes. He has not had a lot of good performances. Not one race so far he's been on the upswing in positions. Every time he's only been on the backslide. He really has been a driver that's excelled in qualifying, not so much on race pace. But he also showed that he knows how to drive conservatively and at least keep the car clean to the end. He's had a few spins, a few wrecks here or there. Not tonight. He has kept it clean, out of trouble. And he's looking to lock it away with his first podium of the season.
Gonna have to start calling him VJ Oval.
He finished 19th at Charlotte.
Okay, well, give it another.
Are you sure you want to commit to that?
Give it another race, and if he finishes in the top 10, we're calling him VJ Oval.
I'm pretty sure he was a car that launched over to cause the only caution of the race at Charlotte as well.
Well, it might have not been his fault.
It was.
I think I remember
I know for that
up
it
on
was.
The racetrack. Exactly. So
But,
he was hard done at Charlotte.
Yeah, the point remains.
No, VJ Oval.
Oh boy.
Still, his near miss on the back straightaway on that last big incident. I mean, that was huge. It could have been massive for him. He wouldn't be finishing up in the top 3. But he found the gap, put it on the grass as much as he could, and then still was able to hang on to that thing. I don't know. It was impressive from VJO to put himself in this position. Had a good run tonight, and you know, there's been a lot of accidents near him, but he's done a good job of avoiding the worst of it.
Cameron Dance, too, he has now just got 5 laps to go, and that gap extending up in over a second ahead of Ethan Hagen. Nothing looking like it'll touch the Hybrid 2 machine for Orbit Motorsports.
I think Cameron Dance is going to dance his way into victory lane.
I think that's a fair assessment. How analytical of you.
Yep. You think he's going to moonwalk?
TBD. We'll see.
That'd be pretty cool if he did this stuff in real life and won a race, and he like would moonwalk places or something, like actually dance. That would be a pretty nice little shtick. You know, Chastain with the watermelon.
Edwards with the
That could be his
backflip.
thing. Yeah, it could be his thing.
3 to go.
And since-
Caution now does end the race. So at this point, a yellow flag would not change anything unless it's with the unless it's with either the top 3. But even then, it is now impossible for Jan Hoppe to finish anywhere other than 5th, and it's now impossible for Garrett to finish anywhere other than 4th. There's just not enough laps
Unless
left.
all of the top 3 wreck out.
No, it's still impossible. There's only 2 laps to go, and they don't have
Because the
overtime.
laps just wouldn't count. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, if they wreck out to where they couldn't move at all, they would pass them.
No, still wouldn't. There's 2 to go. 3 laps down. You can't make that time up in 2 laps.
Well, yeah, if all the top 3 wreck out and they can't move, then they're not making laps.
I see your point.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think we're
Yeah,
down to the white flag.
you're stretching your
Cameron
luck
Dance
there a
is
little bit.
I think Cameron Dance is going to waltz into victory lane.
Well, regardless, the white flag is up in the air. Cameron Dance with a 1.2 second gap just has to hang on to that car one more time. He'll come off of turn numbers 3 and 4. Down the back stretch of the final time, into the final corners for Cameron Dance, plus 17 on the day. He run it up twice, and this time he'll take that car to victory lane in Madison, Illinois.
Like we were talking about, he ran a very clean and methodical race. Brought it home. Great job from Cameron Dance. VJO on the last lap, still
Oh,
celebrating
he
a
really
little
hit the
early.
wall.
Yeah, he's excited about the confirmed 3rd place finish. He's now in a spot where he can't be passed. He's good to go, and he's going to show it.
VGO takes it across the line, and Cameron Dance will be your winner after a very trying 300 miles of racing action. Now, will he go for donuts? It's a hard task to do in an Indycar, but he's going to pull it off.
That was definitely a war of attrition. Cameron Dance from the 18th place on the grid, going to end up bringing it home.
Good form.
No kidding.
I give that a solid 10 out of 10 on that one, you know? I mean, look at the tire treads on that.
Yeah, it's a perfect circle.
Oh, broke it off there, but you know what? Yeah, 10 out of 10 burnout for Dance. And he's still going. Well, Cameron Dance celebrates on the front straightaway. We'll take the time here to take a rundown through your official post-race results here at the end of the night. On what has been one of the most attrition-filled CIS races in the league's history, Cameron Dance with the win, Ethan Hagen in second, VJO was in third to round out the podium. Johnny Garner and Jan Hoffman, the only 2 drivers left in this race. Robert Groscher caught air to knock him out of the race at 6th. Lewis Woodle in 7th. Caleb Weekly almost went up and over in 8th spot. Julian Altena was 9th. Luke LaVille slammed the inside wall off of turn 2. He'll finish out the top 10.
Andrew Aiken finishes in 11th with Hans Pickenen in 12th, Randy Shoemake 13th, Albertus Soria in 14th, Jamie Wilson 15th, Mike Gerlicka in 16th, with Franz Josef Stum finishing in 17th, Rob Martikow in 18th, and Louis Zambelli in 18th.
And that's going to do it then for the whole race. pretty intense one there all throughout, and we'll get the chance here to talk to the top three now in the on the podium here, assuming we can get a hold of them. We'll wait a little bit to see if they're going to give us a chit chat here. I would not be surprised if they were a little bit done for the night. But overall, Austin, a very exhausting race, I think, for the rest of the field, right? I mean, a good chunk of them were out before the halfway mark for this race. You had only 5 cars finish this race, period, with 6th on down being eliminated in what were some of the most spectacular wrecks we've seen all season. But Pocono, the speeds are so much faster. It is going to be a ride and a half to see if they're going to get themselves sorted for the next run out.
Yeah, it was I mean, we were mentioning it all night, a war of attrition, right? I mean, the race was absolutely insane. There's a lot going on, just about nonstop. I mean, I couldn't breathe for a moment because it felt like every time we would start to get a green flag run, somebody would make a mistake out of turn 2 and we'd have a big accident. So a lot of attrition tonight, and I think we finally got a couple guys ready for an interview. We
got all 3. We managed to get them all in here. So we'll kick things off first and foremost with Cameron Dance, the driver that's able to come home with this one and take away a solid race win. And, well, Cameron, after running up twice, you finally take home the race win in what was a war of attrition. Plus 17 on the day, you get the Hard Charger award as well. Walk us through it.
Does his microphone not work?
Cameron Dance, you got a copy? We'll check back in with Cameron Dance a little bit further down the line. So, you know what? Why not? We'll start from 3rd. We'll work our way up. So we'll go now to VJO, the driver that finishes in the number 3 spot. We'll give Dance a second to see if we can figure his microphone issues out. But, well, you come home down to the number 3 position. It's your first podium on the season. I know it has not been a season to remember so far, but this one is huge, and finally with some good points on the board.
Yeah, some people crashed and I finished 3rd. There might not be too much out there to say about that one.
I mean, kind of walk us through a 3rd place finish is still a 3rd place finish, and talk in particular about that final wreck there with about 80 to go. I mean, you were threading the needle there to get around 2 airborne Indycars.
Oh, it was that way. I just avoid the brakes.
And of course, looking forward now, 4 weeks later, it'll be a race out to the Pocono Raceway. What's going to be the game plan for the Tricky Triangle?
To finish.
I think that's a fair game.
Like this one. Like this one.
Finishing the race is the first step in getting some good points. You got a solid podium this afternoon, and congratulations, of course, to that one. We'll wish you the best of luck then when we return after the 3-week break.
Okay, thank you.
Your 3rd place finisher taking his first podium on the afternoon. Cameron Dance has got the microphone issue sorted out, so we'll save the best for last. We'll roll on down. Ethan Hagen will bring it up in the number 2 spot. He is standing by with Austin Edstrom.
Ethan, not a great race from too many people, but a pretty daggum good one for you. Led a lot of the race, was up in the top 3 for basically the entire thing. Kind of walk us through your night, and did you need anything, or what more did you need to maybe be able to challenge Cameron at the end?
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, my car just got really, really understeer in that last stint after that last caution. I'm not sure why, but these things happen from time to time, and definitely frustrating to finish P2 after leading that many laps at the beginning. But it's good. It's a good points day, and we'll take it from here.
Yeah, you came in with a big points lead, so it's not like it really hurts you at all, especially with a lot of other guys having issues. So just kind of, speak on your consistency so far at the beginning of this year. You had a little bit of a hiccup at Charlotte, but, you bounced back with a podium finish here tonight and going into another oval at Pocono in about a month's time. What do you think of the Tricky Triangle, and do you think you're going to keep up your good run of consistency up in Pennsylvania?
So, Pocono is definitely a very fun track, and I haven't raced much in an Indycar, but I've mostly been doing, NASCAR and such with that track, but it'll be fun. Mostly be full throttle racing, tight pack racing. I would think it would be, but we all thought that was going to be the case for Charlotte, but it didn't turn out to be. So who knows? It could be a strange little race for the next one.
Well, Ethan, congratulations on the 2nd place finish here tonight, and looking forward to seeing what you can do whenever we go to the Pocono Mountains.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was 2nd place finisher Ethan Hagen. Next up, we're going to pull up our race winner, Cameron Dance, and talk to Nolan.
We'll take a second swing at this one. Cameron, do you have a copy this time?
Oh no.
Make sure that microphone's not muted the second time there.
We'll get it. There we go.
There we go. We got it in the end, and Cameron, of course, we talked about it, right? Hard charger award for you, plus 17 on the day. You started this race way back in 18th. I guess we'll start off. What the heck happened in qualifying?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Obviously, everybody else's pace sort of caught me off guard, to be honest. I thought my pace was actually okay in testing, but clearly not. So, yeah, not quite sure what happened, but oh well. But yeah, car was mega in the race. It was just absolutely hooked up and had a lot of pace. We moved through, and then once we got to about the top 4 or 5, it was like, what have we got here compared to the others? And we basically got to the top 2, and then it was like, well, might as well just cruise here, save some fuel, and just see what we can do and hang on. And then, yeah, apparently that was enough that we had sitting in reserve that we could just send it.
Obviously, when you get to these more attrition-filled races, it can really be a bit of a struggle sometimes for drivers to maintain that focus, a focus you never seem to lose all race long. What kind of goes in through a driver's heads when you have to really settle in and adjust from what initially is a caution-filled race to one that then turns into a bit more of a green flag runner?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because our speed was really good in the long run. So, like, off the restarts and stuff, it was more about just trying to make up positions if we had to from pit cycles and stuff. But, yeah, in those sort of situations where you've gone from having a bunch of cautions to let green flag run, it's like you just got to basically make up the opportunities you can under the cautions, and then once you get to that green flag run, use what you can with the long run pace that you've got. So, and thankfully it was on our side in that long run pace. So yeah, it was actually a lot better to get a bit of a green flag run at the end there.
And of course, after a 3-week break, we will return to the Pocono Raceway, the first of 3 Triple Crown events, 500 miles, 200 laps. It's going to be a true test of endurance at the Tricky Triangle when we kick off racing in June. But you got your first race win after running up twice in the season here. Will it be a back-to-backer for the next race?
Well, I hope so. I can't guarantee it, but yeah, I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, it's looking big picture. And to be honest, having missed Long Beach, we kind of need to make up points and just try and get results where we can. So if we can come away with a win, I'll be happy. If I can get a podium or even a top 5, I'll still be happy. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be somewhat similar to what Vegas was last year, where it was very pack racing. But yeah, apparently with 3 corners, road course races like myself tend to go quite well. So hopefully it's a good omen.
Well, fingers crossed. Congratulations on taking that first race win of the season at long last. And we'll get set to see you when we go racing in June up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Cameron Dance finally takes the race win that he was looking for all throughout the early portions of the season. And, well, Austin, that takes us to the conclusion of racing action here this afternoon. What a wild race. I mean, it got crazy there in the early stages. It kind of died off a little bit later on, but again, I don't think anybody is terribly surprised at that one, but after the 3-week break, it's Pocono. I mean, it's going to be wild. That's all we have to say about it. It's Pocono.
Yeah, that might be an understatement. I mean, after what we saw here today, I mean, it's going to be absolutely nuts whenever we get up to the Pocono Mountains. That racetrack has always put on a good show for the IndyCars. It's going to be fantastic whenever we finally get up there.
That'll, of course, be coming on out 1 week from now. But before that, we've got a lot of racing left to do, and we'll kick it all off with the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Series coming at you live from Martinsville Speedway tomorrow night. Then on Tuesday, we'll be doing the tape delay broadcast of this night's ASRL Next Gen Cup Series race from their first playoff round. And then, of course, don't forget to check out the Beer League on Wednesday nights when they will go racing over in the Netherlands at Circuit Zandvoort. That's all we got for us here this afternoon. Thanks so much, everyone, for taking the time to join us up for more thrilling classic IndyCar Series racing action. My name is Manolo Rempel alongside Austin Edstrom, bringing you all the action on Green Flag TV and ESTV. We'll see you all in a few weeks when we go racing in the Keystone State.